Welcome to White Sox baseball. The Sox are home once again, trying to even out the series with the Tampa Bay Rays after a close loss in yesterday's Game 1. Thanks for joining us once again. Jason Benetti, Steve Stone along with you. And one of the good signs from yesterday's game was Nicky Delmonico, not only with the bat, but also in the field.
The good thing about Nicky is he's had good at-bats, and yesterday it came to fruition. And in defense yesterday, he was outstanding. So we'll take a look at the day in the life of Nicky Delmonico. A great play on a carom off the wall. Gomez thinking 2 bases all the way. Nicky gets it back in and holds him at first base. This is an even better play. A line drive rocket. He comes on, takes it right off the grass. The tumble and a catch, and then a 2-run bomb, making the score 4-3 at the time. Unfortunately, the Sox came up a little short in the final going, but Nicky had quite a day. 2 for 4 with a home run, 2 driven in, and the fact that he's taking his walks is a good sign.
Sox are trying to break this losing streak today, and the guy who was on the mound last time they won is Carson Fulmer.
He threw the ball very well against Toronto in Toronto, and as you know, they were a red-hot team there, but Carson was able to sink the ball. Everything he threw moved, and he handled a very tough lineup. There, a slider to Justin Smoke, who's been whacking the baseball everywhere. Pilar goes down on strikes, and Carson Fulmer had just about everything, and if he holds it right there, he's going to win this ball game here today. Lucas Giolito with a hand, everybody appreciative of the efforts, and he faces Blake Snell. Now take a look at the 2 games against the Sox for Snell. He's given up nothing. In day games, Carson Fulmer has been brilliant. That's 1 start. That's 4 games overall, an ERA of 150. Carson is ready to go. The Sox ready to break their 4-game losing streak, and hopefully today is the day.
Sox are trying to do it in a little warmer conditions today, upwards of 45 degrees. It's balmy at the ballpark. Sox and Rays coming up.
in Blue Shield of Illinois. Through It All by Lexus, who encourages you to experience amazing. And by Miller Lite, the original light beer. Miller Lite, hold true.
Chilly, but not as chilly as yesterday's Sox and Rays. And here's the Rays starting lineup. Carson Fulmer is ready to go. He is itching to get his first home start of the year. Denard Span, Joey Wendell, Carlos Gomez, and Crone again. Duffy, Malik Smith is up in the order after a 4-hit day. Ramos, Echeverria, and Daniel Robertson DHs.
The defensive lineup for our Sox presented by UI Health, and this is how Ricky's throwing them out there today. It's Delmonico, Engel, and Garcia in the outfield with Tyler, Tim, Yohan, and Jose in the infield. Castillo behind the plate, and Carson Fulmer, our Lexus Experience Amazing starting pitcher on the hill. In his one start, he was a whole lot better than that. He's thrown the ball very well, and he's done a nice job this season of honing his craft as far as moving the ball in, out. The cutter has been good, the slider's been very good, and he's thrown a decent change. And the umpires for today, the crew chief, Gary Cedarstrom behind the plate with Eric Cooper, Corey Blazer, and Stu Sherwater right to left. He's ready to go.
Yeah, Carson's been ready for a couple minutes now, but 110 is 110, buddy.
Well, that's true. I can't argue with you there. It's one of the few things I can't argue about.
Thank you very much.
Maybe the only thing.
So great to see you. Great to have you along for Tuesday afternoon baseball, Sox and Rays. Close game yesterday. Sox never got the equalizer in the 9th inning, even with 2 runners on, nobody out. And off we go. Game number 2 of the series. Strike 1 from Carson Fulmer, dead at 110. Denard Span is the first batter, left-hander, who did have a hit yesterday. An RBI single in the 6th. He also stole a bag for a Rays team that looked very willing to run in yesterday's game. Span to center. Adam Engel is there, and we have 1 out in the first. Your 2018 Chicago White Sox are presented by Guaranteed Rate, your home team throughout the season and the official mortgage provider of the Chicago White Sox. Get started today at rate.com. Off and running now. 2 pitches, 1 out. Joey Wendell, the batter.
Wendell had some good at-bats in yesterday's game. He gets right on top of the plate, tries to take the outside corner away from the pitcher, and he's got pretty good coverage. So this guy has got a little pop, and yesterday he showed it.
27-year-old, former sparsely played Oakland Athletic, who came over as a player to be named later in a trade with the A's back in December. In fact, the same day that the Yankees got Giancarlo Stanton, Joey Wendell came to Tampa Bay.
Headlines weren't quite the same, I think, but pretty good deal for Tampa Bay. Outfield straightaway fairly shallow when there is, and there's not much today, but it is wafting toward the right field corner.
2-0. Misses. Close pitch. 3-0 from Carson Fulmer, who threw only 4 curveballs in his first start in Toronto. A pitch that he said that he wanted to mix in some more here in 2018. It's down low, ball 4. So Wendell takes his first walk of the year, and the Rays have a runner on here in the first. Back-to-back games, the opponent has scored a run in the first inning against the Sox. Tigers did it on Sunday for the only run of the game, and then yesterday Matt Duffy an RBI single to give the Rays the early lead.
Got to be careful with Gomez because he is a first ball hitter. It really doesn't matter if it's a fastball or not. He would prefer that, but he will swing at just about anything if it's close, and he leaves nothing to the imagination. He tries to hit it out of the ballpark every time he does take a swing.
Saw him go down to a knee a couple times in yesterday's game, as he's prone to do. It's ball 1. Carson a little bit low. That first start for Carson Fulmer did a nice job getting the Sox through 5 innings. 5 innings, 5 hits, 2 runs, just 1 walk that came in the first. To the second batter, just as he did here, that was Donaldson back in Toronto. And down goes Gomez, who has a cycle in this ballpark. He's one of 6 guys ever to do it. Mike Blowers being the first.
And Blowers probably didn't have the speed of the other guys. Melky came up with his cycle against the Yankees in this ballpark.
Singleton really on that list is the one guy that you would say has truly plus speed. I mean, Gomez can run, but Singleton was by far the fastest of that group. At least that's what he'll tell you.
Well, definitely he'll tell you that.
In the air, center field. Engel back at the wall to make the play for round number 2.
Well, the wind now has shifted, and the wind is blowing to the left field corner. That didn't take long, and that ball almost blew out of the ballpark. Gomez hit a high drive, and it kept on going and carried by the wind. Adam Engel times it nicely, a step in front of the wall, gets it back in, and Wendell has to retreat to first. He does not have a stolen base. Pretty much you don't look for it here. However, you don't want to take the power away from Crone because he's got big power to all fields. We saw that with the Angels, and we saw it yesterday.
Couple of fly balls to center for C.J. Crone in yesterday's game. And Carson got tripped up by Rogers' mound. And that is going to be a balk. Wendell to second base.
You ever seen a walk-off balk?
That would be a balk-off.
They did that. They've had that. Joe Grube, the learned Joe Grube, says it happened right here, and that is the definition of the rule. When they created a balk, it was for just that.
Looked like Carson just didn't plant his foot. Came down awkwardly.
Sometimes your spikes catch, and sometimes you just trip. There's not much you can do except get the next guy out and not give up a run in the first.
2 out for Crone, who gets hit. Two on, 2 out for Duffy.
Right in the bicep, and he takes his base.
So Duffy, who drove in a couple yesterday, he's got 2 hits, including that RBI single to second base in the first inning. That is strike 1 from Carson Fulmer to Duffy.
July 4th of 2011. Aaron Crow on the mound for Kansas City. Adam Dunn at bat for the Sox. A walk-off balk. A.J. Przinsky scoring the winning run, courtesy of Chris Kamka in that 2018.
7 years later, Chris has your knowledge. 1 ball, 1 strike to Duffy. Again, he just pulls it out of the beard in the truck. 2011, by the way, the Rays' worst start in 10 games, 2-8, same as this group. That 2011 team ended up making the playoffs and losing in the division series to Texas. Duffy hits this ball well to center field. Engel is there, though, just short of the warning track to make the grab for route number 3. 2 left on for Tampa in the first. Mitsubishi, Genesis, and Hyundais at the best price. Go to webcars.com. Moncada once again at the top, 4 times on base for Yoan. Then Garcia, Abreu, Davidson, Castillo, Delmonico, Anderson, Saladino, and Engel back in the lineup.
The defensive setup for the Rays, presented by UI Health. And we'll look left to right at Span, Gomez, and Smith. In the infield, Duffy, Echeverria, Wendell, and Crone. Wilson Ramos behind the plate, and we'll tell you about the pitcher in a moment.
Well, basically, he's Blake Snell.
He is that, and he's got a fastball and throws it a lot because he likes it. And meanwhile, Sox have done nothing with him. So our Lexus Experience Amazing starting pitcher is the aforementioned Blake Snell. 5-point ERA in 9 innings, but he usually saves his best for our Sox.
25-year-old out of the state of Washington, Snell misses 2-0. Yoan Moncada, who helped his numbers dramatically yesterday with 2 walks, a double, a single, and 2 runs scored. Takes a strike there, 2-1. Had never been a leadoff man before this season, and he's been there every day for the Sox this year so far. Sox fans, check into Guaranteed Rate Field with the MLB Ballpark app. For your first check-in this season, you'll get a free White Sox hat presented by Coca-Cola. Download the MLB Ballpark app through the App Store today. 2-2. There's low, 3 balls and 2 strikes on Moncada. There's Avi Garcia, who went hitless in the game yesterday. Then Abreu, who was also held in check. So the Sox 2 and 3 hitters yesterday, 0 for 8 combined. Abreu did reach twice as Moncada swings through that pitch from Snell, and 1 gone in the first.
Snell with a pretty good fastball, throws it right by Moncada. 1 up, 1 down.
Better of the 2 years for Snell was his first year with a 3.54 ERA and 19 starts. Last year that jumped to 4.04.
His secondary pitch is the key. He's got a fastball, good changeup, and he's got to hone both that curve and slider. If he gets those over the plate, he can be awfully tough.
Oh, 1. There's the breaking ball. That's called a strike on the inside corner to Avi, who didn't like it, and rightfully so, according to our Toyota pitchcast.
He wants another breaking ball in on the hands of Avi.
Check swing, ball gets away, and he didn't go. Yeah, that's a tough spot for a batter because you're hoping that you didn't swing. You don't want to peel off to first and sell that you did swing, but kind of caught in the middle.
There's not much you can do, and a manager's not going to get on you if you don't run on a disputed call.
Depends on the call. In terms of one of those at the plate, certainly, right?
Yeah, that's what I was referring to.
Right. Well, I was just clarifying that there are other disputed calls.
Yeah, but not
that a manager.
Third that
right.
Avi just did. There you see the infield, and they're playing pretty much up the middle with Wendell. You got Crone well off the line at first.
Upstairs, 3-2, full count sitting for Snell so far.
Well, the pitches are piling up. The one thing that no team wants to do is have a short start and then have to depend on their bullpen. Although Tampa Bay is using a different style this year with 4 starters and a bullpen day, which we'll see how that works out as far as keeping their pensmen healthy.
There is some flexibility with the added off days this year in terms of the possibilities there, but what do you think?
Well, Kevin Cash thinks it's a good idea, and I'm sure the guys in the front office thought it was a good idea as they imparted that to Kevin Cash and his staff downstairs, and so they're giving it a try. Look, I credit them with trying something that hasn't been done too often. They've tried it before, and obviously they're trying it again, but And the proof, as they say, is in the pudding. We'll see how the bullpen holds up, unless you're planning on an interchangeable bullpen between your AAA and your Major League team. If that's the case, then you have no problem, and the Rays are not going to win anything this year. So they're willing to experiment, hoping that maybe in the future, this year, pays some dividends for them.
2 down for Abreu. 2 strikeouts for Snell so far, who had 119 of them in 129 innings last year, and he pumps in a strike. That's in there as well. So the full arsenal going for strikes for Snell. 0-2. First base side, Crone, a sliding grab, and he has out number 3. Nicely done by Crone, a 1-2-3 inning for Snell. Game to be watched yesterday because of Roger Bossard and his crew's work, right, Chuck Garfien?
Yeah, I'd have to say that Roger Bossard probably is the only groundskeeper in the history of Major League Baseball to have his own bobblehead, and he proved his value yesterday when he somehow, some way, removed 400 tons of snow from this field. How did he do it? Well, he came up with an idea. He didn't know how he was going to do it, so he took his mowers and he turned them into snow plows, and they moved all the snow into foul territory, and they picked it up from there. He said that he got a couple of phone calls from other groundskeepers asking him, how did he do it? Why did he even think of it? Because that had never been done before. And it was great today. For the first time in 6 days, the White Sox actually held batting practice. The last time they had batting practice was in Toronto, so hopefully this will turn this offense around.
How neat, Chuck. I mean, Roger's been doing this for so long, and he just comes up with something.
Well, we know one thing. If Roger didn't think it would work, he would have never brought the snowplow onto the field, because this field and his family are 1 and 2 or 1 and 1A in no particular order. And the field looks beautiful once again. I understand they might be having a little difficulty with the field on the other side of town. Roger also built that field, by the way, as he's done so many other times, like in Boston, for instance. So he's helped a lot of Major League teams with their problems on the field, and he's the best in the business. The Sox have him, and we're all very happy that he's here.
Well, he's also been overseas. He's been to Asia, helping build fields across the world, and highly thought of not only in the States, Roger Bossard.
The international Bossard, from a family of Sod.
Yes.
Yes.
The Sod family.
Emil Bossard, Gene Bossert, and now Roger Bossert.
Those pictures from yesterday, comparing the field at like 9:30 as Ramos takes strike 3. Carson Fulmer guns him down. 2 out here in the second. Those pictures comparing the two were wild.
We'll take another look. That fastball inside, well framed by Castillo. Now Ramos, the catcher himself, didn't particularly like the call, but if he gets a couple inches inside, right-handers on that heavy sink and that running fastball, they're going to have some problems if he gets that strike.
Echeverria, first pitch hunting. And that is a rapid-fire 1-2-3 inning for Carson Fulmer. Minimum of pitches through 2 for Carson.
In Chicago, join Scott Posednik, Doug Glanville, and Layla Rahimi Thursday at 6:30 on the NBC Sports Chicago wonderful channel.
It'll be a great show.
I think it's going to be terrific. We view it as a rose between two thorns, and Layla has her work cut out for her to referee whoever is sitting on either side of her.
Yeah, hazard pay for Layla. Davidson takes a strike. Matt got the day off yesterday. Sox looking for their first base runner in this game. Matt said, I don't know if he was joking, but he said before the game he's not even going to wear an undershirt today. It's so warm out.
It is balmy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Looks like, well, I think it's 70 degrees. Not here, but somewhere.
In the islands.
It's been a tough go in the early going.
2 balls and a strike. Good news. You want the good news first or the bad news?
I always like the good news first because my boss likes to hear bad news quickly. Godfather 1, I believe.
Yeah. 2-1 is swung through. The good news is it's supposed to be even warmer tomorrow.
And the bad news?
More good news first for your boss. Thursday, it's supposed to be warm in Minneapolis. Friday, Saturday, Sunday, though.
Not so much?
Frosty's coming a-calling again. Looks like there's a possibility of a winter storm this weekend in Minneapolis, where the Sox will be headed before going to Oakland.
And they actually blew up the dome, which is a problem if you have an outdoor stadium, which they have. It's beautiful up there, but it does tend to get a little chilly with that limestone all around.
On the ground at third, Duffy coming in. Makes the throw for out number 1. Head to the park for the first $1 Hot Dog Wednesday of the season. It's tomorrow. Steve's rejoicing.
Ooh, yes.
Sox and Rays, 1:10 p.m. Take advantage of this unbeatable deal as you cheer on the Sox all season long. Get your tickets at whitesox.com today.
Outside of regular dog day, that's my favorite dog day.
Dollar
And
dog
for
day?
$1 hot dogs? Are you kidding? No, you can eat 1.5 and not break the bank. Want to split one?
Not with you.
Oh, sure.
Get your hot dogs here. I think it was in it was in spring training, and I want to say it was during a road game at Peoria, but there was a vendor that was walking around saying, buy these so I could go home.
It's a good sales technique.
Castillo lobs this ball to the right-hand side. And Malik Smith gives way to Gomez for the second out here in the second inning.
It was really nice to see Smith not get on base leading off last inning, because yesterday he was a real thorn in the side of our Sox.
A pain in the tuchus, if you will.
Yeah?
You will?
No. I like the side better, thank you.
2 down for Nicky Delmonico, who, as we documented earlier, had a very nice game in the opener.
Well, you had a really nice observation, because when Nicky wasn't getting it done, you noticed that he was having good at-bats. And you also noticed taking your walks and making long at-bats and then hitting the ball hard at somebody. That's what he's trying to do with each and every at-bat. And if it doesn't work out, well, there's 7 guys in front of you trying to take base hits away.
Well, you know, certainly for hitters, if you're standing on deck and you get to see more pitches up close, live, in-game, you're in better shape.
You also try to get the pitcher to empty out his arsenal in an at-bat to you. So by having long at-bats, and Moncada does a lot of that, you see what the pitcher throws. You're going to see the slider. If he throws a curve, you'll see that, and probably the change, and certainly the fastball. And the more pitches you see, the better equipped you are, not only in that at-bat, but certainly the next couple, because now he can't surprise you with anything, and that's what young pitchers do. They want to show you every pitch they have early in the game. And consequently, when it comes later, hitter's already seen it.
2 balls, 2 strikes, and look, you can watch all the video in the world, but it's different from mound to plate.
And they do. They use video extensively, but until you can really tell, does that fastball have some late life up? Does it sink at the end just before it hits the plate? Well, you don't know that until you get out there.
Strike 3, Snell has good stuff today. 6 up, 6 down for the Rays left-hander. No score. Park in Norfolk. And Michael Kopech was quite good. 4 innings, 8 strikeouts, 77 pitches, 51 for strikes. Jose Rondon a home run, and here is the final strikeout for Michael Kopech.
Nice to see the secondary pitches working well for him. He said he's working on the breaking ball, certainly working on a changeup, but his calling card is that big fastball.
Talking to Matt Swierad, the voice of the Charlotte Knights, earlier, he said Kopech sat between 93 and 98, and at one point the gun at Harbor Park rang up a 102.
Not surprising. He's got that in his arsenal.
You never know if there's a hot gun or not, if the radar gun is calibrated a certain way, but it still looks pretty good.
I just love the fact that 93 on the fastball to go with 102. That's a great disparity, and again, you're guessing fastball, you can't guess the speed. And as a young pitcher, he's starting to mature, and then he will be here because he's got that much talent.
It's a good point, too. The difference between fastballs, even if 102 wasn't exactly accurate based on the radar gun, if you have that 9-mile-an-hour difference on the same gun, you're able to use the fastball at multiple speeds. And
normally, you know, you use 4-seam fastball for backspin. That's your hardest fastball. The 2-seam you use for movement. That probably was the 93. So Robertson took a fastball right down the middle. You can only wonder what he was looking for at 2-1, because that's where hitters jump on the fastball.
Looking for a ball?
Guessing ball. Yep, yeah. Probably was.
2-2. Little bit low, 3-2.
That one borderline, it was down. Gary Cederstrom thought it was out of the zone, and he called it pretty much where it was.
Full count from Fulmer, and that's low. So twice Carson has missed under the zone for a walk. See the White Sox take on the Astros Friday, April 20th. The defending champs are here, 7:10 p.m. First 20,000 fans get an MLB Network White Sox tote bag. Be sure to stay after the game for the first Friday night fireworks of the season as well. Purchase your tickets right now at WhiteSox.com. You get a tote bag, you don't even have to listen to the telethon.
And you get to see one of baseball's best teams. The Astros off at 9-2, but they haven't dwarfed the division quite yet because the Angels, behind Ohtani, have gone 8-3 in their start. So both teams, 8 of their last 10 winners, with the Angels winning 2 in a row and the Astros winning 3 in a row. As we're going to see a meeting at the mound, and Wellington Castillo deciding that he wants to make sure that he has Carson back. He regains his composure. He gets his focus back, because after a 1-2-3 second where he used a minimum of pitches, now he's suddenly missing the strike zone. That was a well-timed one of the 6 trips to the mound that you get these days.
With that being a limit now, 6 trips to the mound, you have to imagine Castillo saw something very distinct that he wanted to point out.
Well, there was that and just giving him a breath, because he had just walked Robertson. Now he starts out ball 1 to one of their best hitters. Maybe their best hitter is this guy.
Denard Span takes a strike.
That brought Saladino charging from third, which is what Span wants to do, because he will slap the ball through the left side, although it's hard to call him a dead pull hitter because he's not. But off-speed pitches, he's going to pull. Usually the fastball, he goes back up the middle or takes it to left field.
One. Check swing, and he didn't go, says yesterday's plate umpires to Sherwater.
The umps in the stands certainly thought he did go, but nothing doing with Sherwater.
Is that a farm system for umpires? Just get them in the stands for a couple games and then...
That's exactly what happens. It's really easy to call the pitches from the stands, as well as checked swings or not checked swings.
Good news is nobody in the stands is biased.
True.
Very objective perspective. 2-1. A little bit up, 3-1. Denard Span showing the wear and tear of 34 years old in Major League Baseball.
Well, now he's probably going to get a fastball. It's probably going to be away. He's looking just one spot and one pitch. You can afford to zone in at 3-1. This might be a pickoff play at first. We'll see. Thinking perhaps that Robertson would be going. Castillo decided, as per the dugout, because the dugout's going to call pitch outs.
Three and one. Robertson holds, and strike 2 called. So a couple of borderline pitches. This one goes Fulmer's way.
Well, Span decided to take a pretty decent pitch to hit because that was about belt high. It was on the outside corner. Normally he takes that to left, but now you're going to see Robertson going. And now if Carson's got a better move than he showed before, it's a good time to throw to first. And by the way, that appears to be the throw to first.
There it is. Robertson's caught, and he falls, and the ball gets away. Fish in a barrel, it looked like, but it wasn't.
That's a situation where you're looking at the base runner, not the baseball, and obviously Tim knows you got to catch it. He picks him off by plenty. Then a good solid throw by Jose, and down goes Robertson, but Anderson without the baseball, and so he just retreats to first base. You see him looking at the runner. He's still looking at the runner when the ball hits off the glove, and he'll figure that out.
So no play called there, no error against Anderson on the catch.
By the way, that is a wonderful illustration of what a team error would do. You don't call it on the individual because you can't assume the out, then call it on the team, and it's an unearned run if it scores. I think we'll see team errors. You know, you were talking about it as we discussed in Toronto. I think it's one of those changes that will come to the game. Maybe not next year, but I think you'll see it.
I mean, who does it really hurt?
Nobody.
Yeah.
Absolutely nobody. And then they'll keep a stat on team errors, and the team that has the fewest errors is probably going to be in the playoffs.
3-2. There goes Robertson, and it's ball 4. So 2 on, nobody out for Wendell.
This has always been the case in baseball. It's not usually the plays that you make, but the plays that you don't make are things that cost you wins. And so you figure maybe it's a different scenario if Carson can get the first out, nobody on, maybe he pitches to Span a little differently, but the end result is 2 on, nobody out, and a jam with the middle of the order coming up, and Wendell, who swings it well.
Didn't have to swing it at all the first time, but we saw him, as you said earlier, put together some really nice at-bats in yesterday's game. He had a homer in the 5th on the 3rd pitch of an at-bat. He went 9 pitches in the 1st to a ground out yesterday and had a late base hit as well. Ball 1 from Fulmer.
Well, the last thing you want now, because you've already had 1 visit to the mound, the last thing you want is Don Cooper to come out early in this one. So he's going to stay where he is and hoping that Carson can get the concentration back. He's just flat out thinking about a ground ball. And when Carson's right, he gets enough movement both down and away from the left-hand hitters to watch them roll over to the right side. So they're playing Wendell as a dead pull hitter with Moncada, almost able to shake hands with Abreu on the right side.
One fades outside, and Carson Fulmer, so often we see that movement on his fastball, which actually is a 4-seam fastball, but it just moves so much. Sometimes he's had trouble harnessing it.
Unfortunately, you know, you don't want to throw it down the middle, but some guys have so much movement that that's what they have to start to do. Good slider in on his hands, not particularly 2-0, but a good slider in on his hands will tie up Wendell.
Upstairs, 3-0 on Wendell, 2 walks in the inning.
Well, if he does indeed lose Wendell, that's when we're probably going to see Don Cooper, I would assume, as you look at Gomez in the on-deck circle. He hit the ball fairly well first time up, but it died, and Adam Engel ran it down.
Another illustration of the massive difference between this park in April and this park in July. I mean, it is just a trampoline in the summer, and we've seen some balls well hit this homestand that have not even made it to the warning track.
Now you need 2 looks at second base because Robertson is one of their stolen base guys. And even with Anderson behind him, you got to look twice to make sure he doesn't run.
Through the left side, that's a base hit, and it gets away from Delmonico. Behind Nicky, a run's coming home. They're going to wave around Span from third, and he scores. So the Sox struggling to control the baseball in the 3rd inning. The Rays take advantage with a pair of runs already.
I'm figuring 1 run driven in, E7. The end result is 2 runs. Watch it again. Low pitch, takes it to left field. That part of it is pretty good. Good piece of hitting by Wendell, who's hot in the early going. Nicky comes in and just misses it. Ball flattens out under the glove. It's RBI E7.
So 2 runs in after some great defense yesterday from Nicky there. A ball that he certainly wants to have back, and now Gomez. We were talking about the cycles hit in this ballpark. Gomez having one of them. I was talking about Chris Singleton and his speed, his multiple 20 stolen base seasons. I undersold this guy's speed back when he was younger. He had a 40 stolen base season.
Yeah,
it's easy to forget with the player he is now, but
well, early, I mean, he had a 33, a 37, a 40 steal game. He was a burner. He came up, he was a lot leaner than he was now, but he could really fly. And now, quite obviously, the game of attrition has affected his speed. What he's not doing and what he's fully capable of, and he certainly, I don't believe we'll be doing it here at 0-2, but he is a great push bunter up the right side, especially effective against left-hand pitchers who fall off to the 3rd base side. So we haven't seen it, but Gomez has it in the arsenal, and we'll probably see it before this series is over.
Wendell at second. 2-0 Rays. And Fulmer steps off for the moment.
Moncada up the middle. He's the man that is charged with keeping Wendell close at second base.
Twisted foul again by Gomez. Should teach a dance class with his antics in the batter's box.
You know, at first when he came in the league, everybody just felt that he was showing up the other team. But that's who he is. That's what he does. And he's been doing it since he came in the league. He's a very animated guy. You know exactly what's going on in his mind each and every time you see him do whatever he does on the field. And he's been that way for so long that, you know, they just say, well, that's Gomez. That's who he is.
Well, you can't make players into robots. You got to let them be themselves.
And the celebrations have gotten more intricate, and that's okay, because having fun still is the name of the game. And if a team is happy with one another, let them celebrate any way they want to.
The Astros are celebrating using video game celebrations now from the game Fortnite that all the clubhouses are playing.
How long ago was that?
A couple Fortnites. Swing and a miss, strike 3, and 1 down in the inning. Chuck, you got something on Mr. Gomez?
Yeah, you know, he's a guy who likes to smell his bat. You ever seen him smell his bat,
Yes.
especially in the on-deck circle? I've never seen that before. I'm not sure what that does to inspire him. It didn't work this time. Smelling his bat, though, never seen that before, except for him.
Well, Chuck, there's a world of responses. How about nice job, Chuck?
What,
That's information I'm passing along,
No,
Steve.
I said nice job, Chuck.
what could it, I mean, look at it. This is like a very intricate thing. That was not like a second worth of a sniff.
No, it wasn't. He was enjoying it. And as Joe Grube mentions, can you smell that smell?
Oh. That smell. C.J. Cron takes a strike. You have superstitions when you were playing?
Absolutely. I think all players do in one shape or form. I had a few more than most.
I imagine so.
Yeah. But it seemed to work. Didn't work early in my career, the same superstitions, but seemingly as I got better, the superstitions worked much better.
Yeah, I think you just certified that you're crazy is all that
Well,
you just
that's
did
true
there.
too. But I ate at the same place every day when I pitched. I went on the same walk. I went to the same bookstore. I did everything the same, including 4 songs on, well, a cassette tape.
Oh my.
Playing in my car, the same 4 songs, listened to it all the time, and it turned into victories.
All right, so after this pitch, we got to know what's on that cassette tape. To third, nice stab by Saladino. 4 out number 2.
Great play by Sally as he saves a run. Going to his left, he gets to the ball quickly, makes a good solid throw. This is a nice effort. He picks it, stays with it, knows he has plenty of time with Crone running, takes his time, lets the runner clear, and on to first base. Well done, Sally.
Two down for Duffy. So what were the songs on your cassette tape that you were superstitious about?
I had Cowboy Copus. Remember him?
No.
I had, let's see, what else? Had Lawrence Welk. Big Lawrence Welk fan.
A 1 and a 2. And
yeah, Myron Florin. I loved Myron Florin. And so, I mean, it helped me, look, it helped me win.
That's what pumped you up for the game, was Lawrence Welk?
Well, not exactly. I thought I'd throw that in for hyperbole. But, you know, they were a little bit faster songs. But I felt if you take care of A, B, C, D, E, and F, G is winning. And I had the same dominoes in the same spot every time, was 22 and 4 at home in 2 years, using that new pattern of thought process that I brought forward.
On the ground to third, Saladino closes up shop in inning number 3. Certainly could have been worse. Carson Fulmer pitches over some bumps in the road, 2-0.
Later in today's game, and now let's go down to Chuck Garfien with some more stuff.
Well, the stuff is this. When the players came off the field, the first person to greet them was Ricky Renteria. He doesn't do this very often, but he was really trying to fire up his team and said, let's play the game. Let's play the game. We'll see how they respond this half inning.
Chuck, thank you. You see it. Ricky was there upon entry in the dugout. And look, there are going to be innings like that this year.
He also went to the 2 guys that committed, in one case, an error. The other committed something that should have happened. It didn't. Carson probably gets out of that inning with no runs if plays are made, but, you know, they're trying to make the plays. They just didn't.
0-2 on Anderson's. Blake Snell's stuff is really good today.
Yeah, the fastball is exploding. I mean, he's always saved his best for the Sox. The Sox have never had an earned run taken off him, so they're looking for their first today. Here's a first-round draft pick for these Rays.
Swing and a miss for strike 3 and 1 away here in the 3rd inning. His nickname growing up, actually late when growing up, Blake Snell, was Snellzilla. And he still uses that on social media in certain places. And in fact, he had a brother, an older brother, who used that nickname as well. But Blake kind of appropriated it and made it his own nickname, and slowly it faded away from his brother and fell onto him. He basically just said, I want that nickname, and took it from his brother.
Unless the brother's in the big leagues, probably the visibility for Snell is a little bit better than his brother, who I'm sure is a delightful fellow in his own right, but was not a #1 draft round pick. That, by the way, was the 52nd selection, but the 1st round pick, most likely compensation for a player or two that they lost.
Saladino absolutely robbed by Wendell. What a play.
Sally's had a hard time getting some playing time, and unfortunately Wendell was right there to make the play, and everything we've seen Wendell do has been good. This, for all intents and purposes, is a base hit, but Wendell went up the middle, nice backhand. He's got a strong arm, gets it across in plenty of time.
Even stumbled.
No, that was a nice job. And for Sally, who's just looking for contact, looking for his first hit of the year, that looked like it was going to be it until Wendell came along.
Ball 1 to Engel. You hope that's not one of those plays where you say, well, if only the Sox would have gotten the hit then, because he's got the type of stuff where he could go deep into the game without many base runners.
Adam looking to build on what he accomplished in spring training. He's trying to go back to making some contact. The average is down. He started off hot, had a great spring, but lately not making enough contact. Got to lay off the high fastball because Snell throws that a lot.
That was belt high, 2-1.
Belt high 96, tough to catch up to on the inner portion. We already see that Blake Snell loves to work inside to right-handers and away to left-handers. That was a change. Let's see how effective it is.
Hit the dirt, 3-1. So Adam already with 3 walks this year. A number of Sox batters have improved their walk totals, at least early in the season, compared to last year. Three and 1 from Snell. Called a strike in the top of the zone. Adam didn't like it.
Well, we've seen it over and over all year long, and this is the 10th game for the Sox. Umpires around baseball are calling this pitch a strike. Even though you see Ramos tried to yank it down because he thought it was high. Gary Cederstrom thought it was the top of the zone.
That one's high, ball 4. Adam does coax the walk with 2 out.
First man to reach base for Matt Snell, who's doing a very good job of it.
So now Yohan Moncada. Takes a ball. Yet again, Moncada worked a 3-2 count in the first. He eventually struck out, but he has seen a good number of pitches from that top spot in the order.
Well, leadoff, you want to see, if you can, you'd like to see at least 6 pitches. Anything more than that is icing on the cake. It allows your teammates to see what any pitcher is throwing on a given day or night.
There goes Engel taking off, and the ball sails into center field. Didn't get far enough for Adam to go any further, but Adam with a great read on that ball.
We'll take another look at it. The ball gets away. Not going to be a stolen base, most likely a wild pitch as Ramos sails it into center field. And you see Gomez in the picture. good aware center fielders will charge as the ball is being thrown to second because they don't have any responsibility except backing up the throw. And so Gomez did it. Most center fielders will do it. The more aggressively you charge, the lesser the chances that the runner will wind up at third base.
Up and out. So Snell suddenly having trouble with his command.
You might be thinking about giving you on the 3-0 green light, or it could be that Ricky feels he wants to ease him in and leave it to Avi if he loses him.
Called a strike.
That one was nowhere near the plate. But now it gives Yohan a chance to hit the ball.
Kevin Cash has raised 2-8 to start the year. A couple of late losses in Boston before they got here to take on the Sox. Kevin Cash played in the very first ever Devil Rays game. It was a spring training game down in Florida, and he was playing at the time for Florida State and played against the Devil Rays in their first ever game in spring training.
And winds up in the dugout.
How about that?
Running the ship.
3-2. And strike three. Snell fans Moncada for the second time, so the walk doesn't hurt Snell, and it's 2-0 Rays after 3.
You can't, however, have it because at great expense to somebody, it now belongs to me. But I thought it was a good addition, along with our gnome, to the prize shelf.
Thank you for that. So we have two prizes you can't have.
The other one being the gnome.
Yeah, but we do have that nice winter hat from the other day, a Sox thermos, a Frank Thomas figurine.
Not bad, all things considered.
Malik Smith over Tim Anderson. And a base hit for Smith, who has been pesky plus in this series. His 5th hit in 6 at-bats.
And you got to believe that he's going early in the sequence, because Ramos is the ideal double play man, and so they'd rather have Ramos trying to push the ball to the right side with Smith at second base than a possible double play and a ground ball to the left side if they don't run Smith early in the count.
First pitch fastball shopping, Malik Smith. Now Ramos, who has struggled to start this year, but he was 2 for 5 yesterday with a couple of singles, including the elusive infield single.
There you saw it. That could be it for this year about the infield variety single.
But again, to his credit, we were talking about this yesterday, to his credit, he was scooting down the line as much as big catcher can scoot down the line, but he was not dogging it out of the box.
No, that was pretty impressive because obviously a big catcher is not going to be able to run very quickly, and he showed it to you, but it wasn't for lack of effort.
They used to call him Buffalo. It was a migration to first base.
It was effective. And now if you're thinking about a time to run, very few people are going to call a pitch out 1-0.
Malik Smith, who nearly got picked off yesterday and also was cut down at home plate enough for his liking twice in yesterday's game. Runner like that can get in your head if you're a pitcher, right?
Only a young pitcher. Veteran pitcher doesn't really care. There's been pitchers who didn't care at all about the man at first base. Tom Seaver comes to mind. Greg Maddux comes to mind. I mean, we talk about Hall of Fame pitchers. They don't care if you steal a base because they don't intend to give up another hit in the inning.
That's ball 3, so Ramos with the count well in his favor.
Carson looking for some answers out there because the control has eluded him.
First start in Toronto, he only walked 1. That was Donaldson in the first inning. Down the chute, strike 1.
This might be the time as Kevin Cash decides what he's going to do with Smith, who does have very good speed. Again, the longer he waits without running, the more the possibility of the double play. Now the lead is substantially bigger at first base. Let's see if Carson gives him his best move. And here it's coming.
Smith read it pretty well. Still 3-1 on Ramos.
Ozzie Timmons, who played on the Cubs among other teams in his career, is the first base coach. He's talking it over with Smith and hoping Abreu doesn't hear what he's telling them.
(3-1). Smith holds. Check swing. He didn't go, and it's ball 4. So 2 on, nobody out. And here's your Sox math question for today. Hashtag Sox math on Twitter. First correct answer wins a prize off the prize shelf. Runs the Sox scored yesterday multiplied by Luis Avilan Major League teams minus the number of games left in the homestand including today plus the number of letters in the Sox bench coach's last name.
It's a difficult one today.
It's tough.
I have to recuse myself, but it's difficult.
You say recuse or accuse?
Both. But I'm not going to answer. I'm holding that in abeyance, counselor.
Just saving up all your answers as Don Cooper goes walking off. Carson Fulmer struggling with the command and a couple of mound visits already for the Sox.
Echeverria is one of those guys that will swing early in the count. He saw 1 pitch last time up when he grounded to second. Don Cooper telling Carson, keep the ball down with good sink. We'll get the double play and at least help you get 2/3 of the way out of this inning.
Echeverria swung at the first pitch last time. He grounded out to second base. And that would be a keeper right now for Carson Fulmer.
Jose in at first base looking for a bunt.
There it was. The ball gets away to the backstop, so the runners advance. The double plays out of order, at least conventionally, and it's second and third.
That is a wild pitch. We'll take another look. And again, it's one of those things where you got Castillo set up low and away, and Carson sails it up and in, which means that he's opening up too quickly, which produces a high fastball away to left-handers into right-handers, and nothing Wellington could do there. So that indeed was a wild pitch.
Opening up too quickly. Tell us what we're looking for here.
Well, you're looking for the front shoulder, in this case the left shoulder of Carson, to stay in longer. And to do that, you try to touch your shoulder to your chin. It's not possible to do that, but it will keep you close.
High into the sky, right center field. Adam Engel drifting. Smith tagging. He has great speed. Throw is into third, where Ramos is safe, and the Rays lead 3-0.
Fourth run batted in for Hechavarria. Only we'll call him Echevarria. Yeah, something like that. In any event, it's an early deficit for our Sox. 3 runs down, and Tampa Bay looking for more.
Daniel Robertson, who walked on a 3-2 pitch in the third and came around on the Wendell base hit. Eight walks already this year for Daniel Robertson. Hey, free t-shirt Thursdays are back this season. Be one of the first 10,000 fans in attendance every Thursday home game to get a specially designed shirt. Get your tickets right now at whitesox.com.
Outfield straight away. The wind once again is not doing a great deal, not near the effect that it's had the last few days here.
Fulmer pumps in strike 2. Strikeout would be nice to take away that runner at third, 1 out scenario. Carson with 2 punch outs, 1 in the second inning. That was looking of Ramos, 1 in the third, swinging from Gomez.
Will be a slider. Let's see if he keeps it out of the dirt.
He did, just outside.
That one was off the plate. Good call by Gary Cedarstrom. And a well-executed pitch at 0-2, that's what you want. Tantalizingly close, but not in the zone. Infield in on the right side and back on the left side.
There's called strike 3. Plunked on the inside corner. Robertson punches out.
We'll take another look. Wellington wants it inside. Carson throws it inside. Robertson thought it was low. Cedarstrom didn't. Looked like it had certainly right on the front knee, came over the plate at that level.
Robertson was just looking for an audience. He looked back, didn't get any help from Cedarstrom, looked forward.
Well, remember, it's not where the catcher catches it. It's where it comes over the plate, which means it's about another 1.5 feet out in front of you is actual strike zone.
But that certainly leaves a gap, because as we were discussing yesterday, depending on how the catcher catches it, you are more or less likely to get a strike. So there's some malleability from that strike zone.
I've been talking to some managers who want their catchers to get up a little bit toward the plate. Not up far enough to get catcher's interference, but up on the plate, because then the ball doesn't have a chance to either sail wide or sail low or sail high. You catch the ball before it has a little opportunity to do that. It's just a little edge that a lot of managers are using with their catchers these days.
Do you give the umpire as good of a look if you do that?
Well, he'll just move up with you. So he's getting the same look anyway, and most guys like to set up in what's called a slot. And with the inside chest protectors, when they lost the balloon protectors, both leagues umpires had inside chest protectors. They will set up in the slot between the hitter and the catcher and then look over the top so they can see the inside pitch perfectly, because they're right in line with it, and they kind of have to guess a little bit on the outside pitch.
This hits him in the shoe top. On 2 strikes, Span is on. And with the dead ball, Ramos has to go back to third. Told you about Michael Kopech and what he did in the minor leagues. Here is the final from Winston-Salem. The Dash winners on the road at Myrtle Beach. Blake Rutherford, 3 for 4. He came over from the Yankees around the trade deadline last year. Micah Rodolfo, 2 for 4, one of the young outfield prospects for the Sox. And that group is hitting the ball very well so far this season.
Like to see Rutherford do what he's doing, because he swings the bat from the left side. He's a good young kid out of the Yankee organization, and he looks like he's got a real chance to be here in the not too distant future. I mean, that young man can play, and we saw some of that in Arizona.
He is as laid back. If you met him at Sox Fest, anybody at home, he is as laid back of a guy as you are ever going to meet that plays sports.
Well, sometimes, I mean, guys make that work for them. Other guys have to be pretty well heated up to play this game, and it's personal preference. That's just the guy he is, and that's how he plays.
2 balls, no strikes on Wendell. Span gets hit with 2 strikes, so the inning continues. Just 2 hits on the board for Tampa Bay so far, but 3 runs.
There's been 8 base runners in 4 innings. That's not conducive to winning baseball. Carson has hit a couple of them, given up a couple hits, and walked way too many guys, but he has been betrayed by some defensive letdowns. His inability to get the ball over the plate, I mean, he's just struggling with everything. And younger pitchers have a harder time getting out of that than the veteran pitchers. There you look at the 4 walks, and still not out of the inning here. Pitch number 65 on the way. That's a whopping total.
With a couple of hit batters in this game, the Sox now lead the league in plunkings by pitchers with 9 of them this year. Blue Jays came into today with 8. As there is ball 4. Wendell is on. Bases loaded for the Rays here in the 4th.
So it looks like the bullpen's going to get up and going as Ricky Renteria conferring with Don Cooper. Don Cooper calling Kurt Hassler. And that means that someone's going to start throwing.
Here's Gomez, who's 0 for 2. You know, with all this strife with the couple hit batters and all the base runners you were talking about, suddenly if you get an out here, Carson Fulmer leaves the 4th only down 3-0.
It's the best case scenario after a couple of walks. He hit batsman, a single. Carson still struggling. Carson's taking a lot of time. He's trying to find it, but you're not going to find it working that slowly. You're going to get your rhythm. You're going to have to work quickly. And Hector Santiago loosening in the pen. It's just a difficult thing to do when you don't have a large body of work in the major leagues. And Carson does not.
Check swing and a strike. 1-1. It's a pretty good slider.
Good slider. Bases full of Rays. Not so good speed at third base. Fairly good at second and third.
1 ball, 1 strike. Fulmer to Gomez. That time he didn't go. 2-1.
Eric Cooper on the call. He'll have the plate tomorrow for the finale.
That means good things.
It does. Eric likes to keep the game moving. Does have a pitcher-friendly strike zone. Always had. He called Mark Burley's perfect game and Mark Burley's no-hitter.
While wearing number 56.
Yeah, you don't. I mean, you very rarely will see 2 guys like Burley and Cooper working together on no-hitters. Now, Cooper wasn't working with him. He was calling the pitches, but Mark worked so quickly that he never got out of rhythm. He just got the ball and threw it. And there is Dwayne Wise and the catch.
We were talking about it the other day. Gabe Kapler was just discussing that with some of the local media in Philadelphia, how happy he was eventually that the ball got caught, but he hit.
Dwayne Wise, a defensive replacement, went and got it, juggled it, fell down, had the ball hit him in the chest, and then put it away to preserve the perfect game.
All it takes is 1 strike here from Carson Fulmer. 2-2 for Gomez. High in the air left side, and this ball will find the seats. Here's your Sox Math answer for today. It was 17. CWS Bleachers, the winner. 4 runs times 3 teams for Avilan, 12 minus 2 games left of the homestand, 10 plus 7 in McEwing. Joel McEwing, the bench coach for the White Sox, with his wonderful calligraphy. He writes out the lineup card every day, and your winner, CWS Bleachers. There you have it. Little back bend from Gomez, trying to get settled for 2-2 against Fulmer. Slider fouled away. Still chilly out, not as cold as previous, but still time to get those winter hats out of the closet. Warmer even tomorrow for the 1:10 start time. Two and two. Up and in. A hat loser for Gomez. 3-2.
We didn't see a whole lot of this deliberate delivery on the part of Carson Fulmer when he thrown the ball very well in Toronto, but he has slowed it down to a crawl and still can't find his rhythm.
Three and two. He got him. A strike at the right time for Carson Fulmer to strand him loaded. 3-0 Rays only after 3.5.
Coverage begins at 6:30 with Bulls pregame live, or stream the game live on the NBC Sports app.
Blake Snell has been quite good so far for Tampa Bay. 47 pitches, 9 swinging strikes, 10 called strikes already for Snell. And he'll face Garcia Abreu Davidson for the second time.
Don't let him get that first ball fastball for a strike. If it's in the zone, then it's not going to be a fastball. He's going to handle the hook.
And he drops it in for a strike. Here's the Carson Fulmer strikeout. Some pent-up frustration from his day, certainly.
They made the biggest pitch of the inning when he had to make it.
Left side, Echeverria, the strong arm for out number 1.
And that's what Echeverria brings to the table. He plays exceptional defense, which is why he's still in the major league, still looking for that bat production. I know that they believed in Florida that he was going to be one of those guys that's going to start every day for someone, and so far it hasn't worked out that way, but he's still got a chance because he's a defensive wizard.
Here's Abreu with 1 out. And Snell's first pitch is in there for a strike. Chuck.
How about some news we weren't expecting? The Winston-Salem Dash, the high A minor league affiliate for the White Sox, announced today that Chris Paul, the NBA All-Star, has bought a minority ownership in the franchise. Here's a quote from Paul. I'm excited to have the opportunity to become involved with a successful organization that has a positive impact on the community. What could be more fun than being part owner of a minor league baseball team in your hometown? Yeah, he's from Winston-Salem.
Chuck, really interesting, especially because having lived down there for a little while, Chris Paul's just beloved in Winston-Salem. I mean, he is the guy for that town. When he was playing with the Hornets had an exhibition game at the Joel Coliseum just to have a homecoming for Chris Paul.
That's nice. And he's a part owner of a baseball team, which is also very nice.
He certainly is. Omar's team down there, Omar Vizquel.
You know, Bill Murray had many professional baseball franchises in the minor league. He just loved it. And I don't know if he's still affiliated with any of them, but I know for a while he was piling up minor league teams, which was a good thing to do because he's a great baseball fan.
2-2. 3-2. I remember seeing a video. I think he was affiliated with that team in Charleston, the River Dogs down there in the South Atlantic League, because I think I remember seeing him give a speech at a banquet for the South Atlantic League All-Star game. I mean, he loves baseball. That's for sure.
Yes, he does. I actually had a chance to do a game with him, and it was very entertaining.
Swing and a miss. Strike 3. Snell with punch out number 6.
We'll take another look. Good late movement on this one. Nice pick by Ramos, and not a lot of contact in the Sox batting order these days.
No hits yet either.
Nope. Snell has been that good, but he's never given up an earned run to the Sox, so that's kind of to be expected.
Davidson cracks it foul. You know, it's really interesting that the Sox have not been able to hit Snell, because the profile, at least the last 2 years, the Sox have the best batting average against left-handed pitchers in Major League Baseball dating back to the beginning of last season.
Right-handed dominated lineup will usually get that for you, and the guys just love to see the lefties out there. Kind of like a whole team of Danny Valencia's, who terrorizes left-handers, and then, you know, occasionally he'll get a chance to play against some right-handers, not that often, but he's in the major league still and producing still because he just pummels left-handers.
Be a fun clubhouse 25, Danny Valencia's.
Yeah.
Who's who? 1 and 2 on Davidson. We were talking about the walks from the Sox, and certainly only 1 in this game, but you compare the walks right now to last year. Davidson already at 6. He didn't have his 6th walk last year until May, 2nd week of May. So some numbers are up in that regard, but Snell has mounted 6 strikeouts so far. That's the way the game's being played, though. Walks, strikeouts, home runs.
Kansas City won a World Series with some contact hitters. And in fact, that was one of the things that Dayton Moore thought about when he put together his ball club, and the additions he made to the ball club in that era where Kansas City came a game away from winning a World Series, only to see the next year they won the World Series. So a couple great years of competitiveness out of the Royals. Dayton Moore's going to have to do it again, however, as the team's been decimated, but he did it once, and he did it with contact. They put the bat on the ball, and when you do that, good things usually happen. So for the 2nd time in as many innings, Snell retires the first 2, only then to walk the next hitter. First time it was Engel, this time it's Davidson, leaving the path clear for Wellington Castillo. And maybe Wilson if he comes along.
There's a Wilson catching in the game. I thought maybe you'd just been watching Castaway.
Ooh, no. Never.
Castillo with 1 on, 2 out here in the 4th. There's strike 1 to Wellington Castillo.
Interesting way to set up at first base for C.J. Cron. He's well off the bag, realizing that Davidson is not a stolen base threat, so he wants to get the best angle he can get on a ground ball to the right side because there's 3 defenders on the left side.
Check swing. I think he went. He did. 0-2.
Do you think we'll ever see a definition in the rule book on what is a check swing? I know that's something that you talked about. There is no definition of a check swing.
No, there's not. And it's real. I mean, everybody's booing it here because they think it's not a swing. And some people are saying, well, no, that is a swing. And it's just because you think it's a swing. You've got to figure out a way to define that, right?
You would think so, but it's worked pretty well to this point. I'm not sure there could be that many changes, but I think it's a good idea as that one gets away briefly.
You're just trying to rile me up.
No way.
You know that's one of those hills I die on,
No,
like miking up the umpires on
No,
instant replay.
I understand. You have
I don't appreciate
you have
that.
a definite viewpoint of how you would like to see the game run, and meanwhile, Ramos is shaken up. I mean, really shaken up. I'm wondering if he got hit in the throat.
Yeah. Let's see.
No, caught it off the throwing hand.
Didn't he catch one on the hand yesterday,
Yeah,
too?
he did, but it wasn't this same result. There's a lot of catchers like to catch with one hand to the side or behind their back. Ramos is not one of those, and for the second time in as many days, he's gotten hit, only this time he got hit hard. Give me 5. Or the helmet.
He's going to stay in.
I just marvel at the toughness of catchers because you're going to take a beating, you know it, then everyone expects that you're going to hit along with it. You have the responsibilities of not only knowing each and every one of your pitchers, but then you have to know their pitchers because you have an offensive side to the equation. Catchers normally are as smart and smarter than most players on the field. They just have to be. There's too many demands on them.
Just compare the stress defensively. It's not close.
You mean to standing in the outfield and waiting for a ball to come to you, or
Anything
catching
else.
every pitch, of which many of them in the dirt winds up somewhere off your anatomy. That's why in talking to great catchers, I ask them how many games can they play and keep max effectiveness. They tell me 135 is an ideal number for an everyday guy. 135 games played.
That's upstairs. So still Snell having some trouble with the command. That's 3 straight full counts. And a grand total of 8 in the game. 8 full counts from Snell.
And still he's walked the tightrope. Hasn't given up any hits.
Nicky's next. 3-2 on Wellington Castillo. Davidson at first. And it's fouled off of Castillo's body. This is a foul ball.
So a very painful at bat for Ramos.
Wait,
and
they
they're
called
calling him
that an out.
Yep.
So Castillo just went down on the swing, I guess. And that'll do it for the Sox in the 4th. Here's a look.
Well, he went down to sell the fact that it hit his foot. Gary Cedarstrom said, no, you clearly saw it hit the dirt. The question is, did he get a piece of him? But it's answered. And we will step out 3 runs down. into your X1 voice remote and get live team stats on your TV. Change the way you experience TV with Xfinity X1.
All right, I'm going to tell you why Twitter's great.
Okay.
There are many reasons why it's not.
Yes.
But here's why Twitter's great. Just got a tweet during the break from the Charleston River Dogs. They say, we heard you weren't sure. Not only is Bill Murray one of our owners, he's also our director of fun.
Well, he can do that real well.
Then they claim that they're the most fun team in the minor leagues.
A worthy claim.
Yeah.
Probably there's a few other teams would like to take that mantle, but the River Dogs apparently are ecstatic.
Crone with a projectile and an out.
Part of the bat went flying, and the ball softly to left. Left with just the handle to show for his efforts.
Where do those go?
To the bat cemetery.
Where's that?
Well, it's a franchise, so there's a few around. Can you imagine how many bats are broken in a season by a major league team? Because I can't, I have no idea, but it has to be gigantic. And these are not cheap things.
Who runs the bat cemetery? Steve?
Batman, of course.
Okay. Greg Sparks?
Perhaps.
Sox assistant hitting coach Greg Sparks has one of those Batman do-rags that he walks around with. He likes to call himself Batman. There might be a psychological issue. Base hit for Duffy, 1-out single here in the 5th.
He might be onto something, but a very good assistant hitting coach, and they make a nice tandem along with Dot Steverson.
Greg Sparks was here as a bat boy on Disco Demolition Night.
It was a while ago.
Roger Bossard was reminiscing about Disco Demolition Night.
Not fondly.
No.
Not fondly at all.
Not at all. So here's Malik Smith, who you may remember when he was at second base yesterday. He and Tim Anderson were battling it out, pushing each other, having a good laugh over it, and evidently they have the same agent. So they've gotten to know each other in past years. And there was some horsing around, some horseplay at second base yesterday between Anderson and Smith. Check swing, ball low. And here's a look at yesterday. Game 1 of the series, Smith going for second base. And Tim comes over to try to push him off the bag. And here's Tim's tweet. That ugly boy was swinging that stick today. My dog lit. That little ugly boy. Tim Anderson calls him. Tim would love to turn 2 on him. Tim did throw Malik Smith out at home yesterday on a nice play with the infield in.
Homer Narvaez had 3 putouts at the plate. You don't see catchers have that happen to them too much these days.
One and 2. We'll have to wait, throw to first. So if you're Carson Fulmer, you have that rocky inning, couple of walks. What are you doing on the bench between innings?
Talking with Don Cooper to find out if he saw anything as far as the mechanics are concerned, but most likely it's not just mechanics as he's getting ready to throw his 80th pitch. It just has to do with getting your focus back and trying to repeat your release point. If you can do that, you're usually okay. If you can't, it's going to be a tough outing.
And Jose with a hop over Duffy. It's a new craze, the Duffy hop. One and 2 on Malik Smith. Hard hit off of Fulmer, ricocheting to Abreu, and Jose gets there foot first to retire Smith. Hope Carson's okay.
Well, he took it a full shot, and we talk about exit velocity and what it means for home runs. It also means that the pitcher 55 feet away is going to get a plunking. High fastball right back up the middle. Carson cannot get the glove down in time, and he's in some pain, but it eases the pain a bit to know that whoever hit it didn't get a base hit out of it, as Jose gets the bag just an eyelash ahead of Smith, who has tons of speed, and this one's going to leave a mark. Nice slide in by Jose, beating Smith.
96 miles an hour off the bat.
Well, you know, you're 55 feet away, and they say the hot corner, which is anywhere from 90 to 110 feet away, is the hot corner because when a right-hander pulls the ball down there, it gets on you quickly. The pitcher being so much closer, it's really hard to defend yourself, especially from the waist down. You should be able to defend yourself from the waist up, but the exit velocities are getting greater and greater.
Here's the batting average by exit velocity in Major League Baseball. If you're wondering what the difference between 96 and 90 might be, you gain 114 points on your batting average. Then up to 90 to 97, it's 160 points on the batting average just by adding a couple miles an hour. Now, Carson doesn't feel it in terms of batting average. He feels it in terms of ringing pain. But that's the difference between just a couple of miles an hour. And if you wonder why we talk about exit velocity, that is the exact reason, that just a couple miles an hour changes your fortunes very likely.
Yeah, that, and you know how the ball shoots through the infield, because if a pitcher's going to give up a home run, whether it's 430 or 480, it's irrelevant, it's still a home run. But you worry about the ball coming back to you. A lot of pitchers do.
Duffy to second base. Ramos the batter. And his first ball in play today is into right center field, dropping in to give the Rays one more run. A 2-out hit for Wilson Ramos, and it's 4-0 Tampa Bay.
First run batted into the year for Ramos as he takes something down and out of the zone and turns it into gold. Drops it in front of Avi, no chance at all. And Duffy scores easily.
Wilson Ramos came into this series with 3 hits on the year. He now has 6. One on, 2 out, 1 in, and a first pitch ball to Echeverria. '28-year-old shortstop Adeiny Echeverria, who drove in a run on the sacrifice fly in the 4th. Carson Fulmer still shaking off the pain.
96.4, and for a line drive in the infield, that's pretty good for a guy that's not overwhelmingly big. Carson certainly is feeling the effects of it, but fortunately it didn't catch him like it caught Wilbur Wood many years ago, right on the kneecap, and shattered his knee, and Wilbur really wasn't the same much after that. That was Ron LaFleur who happened to hit it for the Tigers.
3-0. Ron LaFleur might actually come up later. There's
Really?
a chance.
No.
Yeah,
Really?
he might.
Wow. Is this a foreshadowing or?
Yeah, I
Wow.
feel it in my hip. The weather pushing through it all. 3-0 to Echeverria. Carson was saying a couple of days ago that those glasses he has on are essentially breakaway, where so he doesn't get hit in the eye when the ball hits. They'll sort of separate. If he were to take a ball in the face, they would separate and kind of tear away rather than push back into his eye. That's the reason he wears them.
Not a bad idea for self-protection for pitchers who are going to be an endangered species, even greater than they are now. It's because hitters are getting bigger and stronger. The fastball for pitchers is getting a little faster, and most pitchers now are max effort guys, meaning they're really going to fall off the mound to one side or the other depending on which arm they throw with. that leaves you in an indefensible position. Consequently, you're left to the capricious nature of the line drive to see if it's going to hit you or wind up in center field. Not a comfortable place to be if you can't field your position.
Three and two. It's inside, ball 4, so 2 on, 2 out. And here comes a meeting at the mound.
That's 6 walks. Carson Fulmer.
We're talking about those glasses he wears too. The reason he wore them in the first place, it is a reaction to something that he did a bunch of years ago. His freshman year in college, he was working out with one of those stretch bands, and it snapped back into his eye and caused an eye injury. Now, it doesn't affect his vision at all right now. The injury is not near his retina. However, that's the reason he wears those, because if he finds that he has another injury at some point playing, not those, playing on the mound, there could be some further residual effect from that earlier injury he had at Vanderbilt.
I think in this day and age, pitchers would like to use perhaps that football helmet with the cage in front, so make sure they can't get hit in the head. And if things keep getting more lively, it's probably not a bad idea.
One ball, one strike. It would be amazing if Carson Fulmer threw 5 today and have it be the same amount he went. He went 5+ in that first start. He had such better stuff in that first outing just in terms of his command.
He did that. I mean, I thought he was brilliant. A couple of runs scored after he left the mound. So it makes the performance look much worse than it really was. It was pretty much a dominating performance in Toronto.
Number 90 runs in, so 2 balls and a strike. Ramos at second, Echeverria at first, 2 down, 5th inning. Two one. There's a strike, 2-2 on Robertson. So Carson Fulmer with a comebacker in the inning. Ramos an RBI single. An eventful 5th so far. The former Vanderbilt Commodore trying to work through a final strike. 2-2. Breaking ball tapped in front of the plate. Saladino has to go a long way and has no play. So the bases are loaded on a topper down the third base line with 2 down for Span coming up, and that's going to do it for Carson Fulmer.
Sally made a good play because he did not release the ball, having no chance at first base, and only bad things can happen when that does happen. So he's going to leave him loaded as we take a look at Sally and the play that he didn't make because there was no place to throw it. That's going to be it for Fulmer as he walks out. So will we. We'll be back after these messages. we make banking simple. Lakeside Bank, it's about time. Hector Santiago comes in the ball game on for the 3rd time. You look at the rest of the numbers, and he's in there to eat up some innings in a 4-0 deficit. It would also help if he kept that deficit right where it is.
It's going to be his job for most of the year, you'd expect, if he remains in the same role, just to sop up some innings out of the bullpen. And that nearly hit Span. Ball 1.
He did get hit last time up, so probably he wants to shake that off first before he gets hit again.
One of those days.
It is that, as you see the bases full of Rays, trying to add to that already 4-run lead. Matt Snell, by the way, has a no-hitter in place through 4. Blake Snell, excuse me. Matt was a running back. Blake is a pitcher. That's the difference.
1-0. Swung through 1-1.
Big out here to get out of. You can manage 4 runs down. You really get tough 6 runs down, especially the way the offense has been. But this offense, when the weather heats up, is going to be a whole lot more effective than it is now. We saw that in Kansas City. We saw it some of the time in Toronto, but has been an offensive drought on this homestand, which is now in its 5th game of 6, with tomorrow being the finale.
2 for 28 with runners in scoring position for the Sox in the recent past. 1-2 on Span. Ramos at 3rd, Echeverria at 2nd, Robertson at 1st. Santiago just missed.
Pretty good pitch. Gary Cederstrom said it went wide of the plate, and so it was called that way. You just as soon not get the 3-2 in this situation, because the runners all will be going. So this strike is very important.
Two balls, 2 strikes from Santiago. We haven't seen yet in this series. He threw 2 1/3 over the weekend against the Tigers on Saturday. Fouled off. Sox and Rays again tomorrow. 1:10 first pitch. James Shields on the mound, the all-time strikeout leader for this Tampa Bay organization.
It's going to be a beautiful day tomorrow, so nice time to come out to the ballpark, watch the finale of the homestand, then it's off to see the Twins in Minnesota.
Lucas Giolito and Jose Barrios, the pitching matchup scheduled for Thursday. A couple of good young arms.
Yeah, that's going to be a great matchup. Looking forward to that. Looking forward to a time where Lucas can feel his curveball.
2-2. Swing and a miss. Strike 3. Hector got him to climb upstairs, and the inning's over. Still 4-0. Sox are trailing 4-0 today. Jason Benetti, Steve Stone, Chuck Garfien along with you. Chuck is outside in better conditions today than he's seen all season.
I think he is greeting this warmer temperature with delight.
Sox need a hit. Nicky Delmonico first against Snell. And that's ball number 1. Sox have worked the count. I mean, 8 full counts. 3 in a row coming into this at bat. So that's why Snell is 1 short of 70 in terms of deliveries here in the 5th with a no-hitter going.
I think he had a real good outing against the tough lefty, Danny Duffy, for Kansas City. To establish the fact that he can put the bat on the ball consistently against the left-handers.
Three and 1 to Delmonico, who wears number 30. And in case you were wondering, we had Maglio here during this homestand. Tim Raines, a former number 30. Bucky Dent as well. That's where 30 has gone historically for the Sox.
I was a teammate of Bucky's when he was here before that fame in New York with the huge home run that crushed the hearts of the Red Sox faithful. That's a very cute little girl dressed in pink, bundled up for the weather, and looks like she found her mouth.
Another full count leads to a walk. 3rd walk for Snell, the first one with anything but 2 out in the game, and see if the Sox can take advantage. This will be interesting to see, because if Snell keeps the no-hitter going for a while, he's at 73 pitches in the 5th inning. 25 years old, 3rd season in Major League Baseball for Snell. How long can you let him go?
Depends on what he did in spring training and what he did the first time out. So he's probably got many more pitches left. I would say they wouldn't mind letting him throw 100 pitches today, but it depends on how he gets there, because if you have a non-stressful 80 pitches, you're not going to be near as tired as you have 50 or 60 pitches under duress, and Snell has had very little of any duress. Kevin Cash will determine just how long he's going to go, along with Kyle Snyder, their new pitching coach. Hickey goes to the Cubs. Longtime Joe Madden pitching coach Jim Hickey did a great job there in Tampa Bay, and when they got rid of Chris Bosio, who we saw earlier, they brought up Kyle Snyder from their organization. They wanted to promote from within, because he had all of the young kids that are currently in their major leagues, and so seeing them grow up and teaching them the formative years, it's only natural they bring them to the major leagues, because he knows them all.
Late on the fastball, Tim strikes out. 7 punch outs for Snell in the game.
Tyler hit the ball very well first time up, so he is one of the few guys to at least solve the contact problem. I'd have to think the no-hitter ends here, but we'll have to see if he can get it done.
First pitch called a strike. Snell in his first 2 starts, 84 pitches against the Red Sox in a 1-0 loss, and then 90 pitches in a 7-2 loss at the Yankees.
I think he probably goes close to 100 in this one, depending on, again, how much duress. And that will determine the Sally at bat here.
Called a ball.
That was a good changeup and probably in the zone.
Tyler Saladino, as of last year, a member of the Hall of Fame at Oral Roberts University, where he played collegiate baseball for a short time. Be hard pressed to find a place Saladino leaves where people don't think very highly of him as a guy.
Well, in talking with him about his future when the career ends, whenever that is, he wants to coach. He loves working with young athletes. He loves trying to mold young ball players. Very smart about the game, has a very high baseball acumen. And I applaud the fact he wants to be a coach and not a professional coach to start.
We were in Charlotte for the AAA team playing against the Sox, and one of the radio announcers, Mike Pacheco with Charlotte, his son Jack was there, and Jack's grown up the last couple of years, certainly since Tyler left, but they were talking with Tyler about how he used to just come out and Jack was there and Tyler would roll him some balls. They'd play infield practice. Tyler's got big-time coach inside his heart, as you said. 3-1. Hit well left center field. Span and Gomez, and this ball is in the gap over the wall on a hop. The no-hitter is broken up, and runners are at second and third with one down.
Tyler hits a drive to left center field. Maybe on another day it's a home run. This time it's not, but it does stop the magic right there. So Tyler Saladino does indeed end the no-hitter. And now it's time to put some runs up. If that can just stay in, it is going to be a run. As it turns out, 2 runners in scoring position.
Oh, you said it. Tyler breaks it up. First hit of the game for the Sox, first hit of the year for Saladino, and first mound visit from Snyder for the Rays. Let's go downstairs to Chuck.
Yeah, Rick Renteria before the game was talking about the value that a guy like Tyler Saladino has for this ball club. He doesn't play that much. A couple times a week, maybe. He was a DH yesterday. Renteria wanted to put him in the game here today to get some at-bats, but, you know, there's only so many guys that have the ability to sit on the bench for a week, come on, and make a difference, and he certainly made a difference there. And by the way, during batting practice, he hit a batting practice, well, it would have been a home run, but it was robbed at the wall by, of all people, James Shields. He dove for it, fell down, and his entire uniform was filled with mud. But anyway, Tyler Saladino, big hit right there.
James Shields always battling through adversity, right, Chuck? I mean, my goodness. Thought it was interesting.
How old is he?
Shields?
Yeah, I know, doing that.
I know, right? 1 out and Engel, second and third. Thought it was interesting, Chuck. Ricky Renteria said, you know, you do have to be pretty good in order to deal with being on the bench and coming off the bench.
And he's always been able to do that. And he had a rough year in 2017 health-wise and on the field, and that was a big hit for him. I think it was his first hit of the season, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah. So Engel now with the ball up. 1 ball, 1 strike to Adam, who walked back in the third. Sox have something brewing in the 5th.
I talked to Sally about that. I said, how can you possibly stay sharp when you just don't get the at-bats? And he told me that every day he goes through everything he would normally do on days he would start. It's the only way to stay both offensively and defensively aware of what's going on and prepared to play that role, because you're right, Chuck, it is a very difficult role to play.
Grounded foul. Moncada beyond deck circle. Here's Chirinos getting loose for the Rays.
Yanni Chirinos. Not to be confused with the catching Chirinos.
Or to be confused with the musician who blows into the conch shell every once in a while.
I don't know that yet. Is he good?
1 and 2. Ground ball right side, and Wendell's there to suck it up. Sox do get a run. Delmonico comes home. Saladino to third. Sox are on the board at 4-1.
Nice defensive play by Wendell and a good piece of hitting by Adam Engel, who drives in his 3rd run, first of the day. It's a 3-run deficit as we take a look on the right side. To his left, Wendell makes the play, cuts him down at first. Adam hustling all the way, sniffing out a base hit, but been a couple of good defensive plays in the early going for the Rays. And a good job of getting him home. Now Yuan gets another one home. They'll cut the lead in half and then take it from there.
Carson Fulmer twice left the bases loaded, and we'll see how big that comes up in this game. Back-to-back times, the Rays had the bases loaded and couldn't finish the deal.
That time, Ramos saved a run because that one was very much high and away, and he was able to make the catch. Sally taking a pretty good lead, and he'll be coming down with the pitch.
One and two on Moncada, off speed. Gets a strike for Snell. One, two. In the dirt, Ramos again stonewalls it. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Chirinos
Kittredge
has a pal.
Yeah, both right-handers, both getting loose, and it's a very young bullpen for these Rays.
Wave and a miss, strike 3. Moncada has struck out 3 times. Sox do get a run. It's 4-1 to the 6th. One thing with the skipper of the White Sox, Ricky Renteria. Who's the most likely White Sox player to be near the space heater?
That's a great question. Everybody. I mean, everybody's trying to stay warm and do everything they can to keep their body moving around and flexible. Believe it or not, football players playing that stuff all the time. Now they're padded up, and I was talking to Bob Bechtel the other day, but they're moving around a lot, so they have ability to keep their bodies warm. In baseball, you have you're in, you're out, you sit, you cool down. It's a little different. Guys try to layer up to keep themselves warm, move around as much as possible. But I think everybody tries to pass the body by the heaters during a 9-inning ball game.
Very diplomatic by Ricky, but certainly not easy. You know.
I do.
You go out there, you perform for a while, you come back, you sit down. What's that like?
I usually didn't want to be by a heater because then I have to go out to the cold again. So I would put a jacket on and take whatever analgesic that was on my arm, use that for warmth. Later in my career, never wore a shirt, any sleeves underneath. Just pretty much it was a uniform, maybe a t-shirt, maybe not. But everybody's different. But I used to put the jacket on and just sit down away from the heater specifically so I could get acclimated to the cold.
Ricky with a nice Bob Bechtel mention as well. Congratulations to Bob.
You got to get the boys into the broadcast that help on the road with all kinds of things, and Ricky just did that.
2-2, called strike 3, Santiago. nails the outside corner. Wendell punches out. And time now to quiz Steve Stone on his own career. We call it Sticks and Stone. Question for you today, Mr. Stone. Which future Rays managers struck out more against you during your years in Baltimore? Specifically, only 2 answers this time.
Yeah, but I had a hard time with Hal McRae. He didn't strike out very much. I did get him in spring training once, and he yelled at me for throwing him a curveball in spring training. And then Lou yelled at me for suggesting that one of his players should play, former #1 draft pick, and I thought that he should play if he was in the major leagues. Lou didn't, apparently, put him on the bench, and of course Tyler Colvin never quite developed the way they thought he would. But I would say it's Lou Piniella.
That ball's bashed to left center field by Gomez. He has a lively bat, and he sends this one out. A home run for Gomez and a 5-1 lead for Tampa Bay.
Second home run of the year for Gomez. Third driven in. That was a blast. The 1-0 pitch. Gomez sitting on it, and he crushed it. Our Ford home run replay will show you a fastball outer third, and he knows it's gone when it left the bat. Off that raised front foot, one of the higher leg kicks around, gives him some hang time, and he hung this one out to dry.
And the race was on for the Souvenirs. C.J. Cron with a base hit. Back-to-back hits for Tampa Bay, swinging early in the count. And for Gomez, his 8th hit of the year, his 3rd of the series. Tampa Bay has seen the offense make a change since arriving here in Chicago. Actually, since Sunday. They put up some big runs in Boston.
Yeah, they were really struggling offensively. Not much was going on, but they have found the sticks the last 3 games. With today, just some icing on the cake. And the icing was frozen for that cake for 4 straight days. A little bit better today. Things are thawing out some.
It's supposed to be even warmer tomorrow, as we told you. So 1:10 start time. Don't go to work. Come to the ballpark.
A grand idea, assuming you have a job on the next day, I think, but we'll see.
That's worth testing it.
Sure.
See how much leverage you got with the old boss. Duffy checks it up and takes the ball. 1 for 3 for Duffy today with a run scored. It's outside, 2-1. Sox will go to Tampa Bay the one time this year with the way the schedule works. That will be in August, so it's bound to be warmer.
You would hope.
If it's 40 degrees at Tampa Bay in August, we got big problems.
Yeah, the end of the world is near.
In the air, Adam Engel, center field. And no tag from Cron. Here's your answer to Sticks and Stone. You said Lou Piniella.
I said Uncle Lou.
Let's see. Oh, Hal McRae.
Got him 4 times, huh? Oh, there's that sad. What is that, from Peanuts?
Yeah,
That
Doug.
very sad.
Doug Bullard is back in the truck, so his sound effects are back.
Oh, I can't believe I struck out Hal that many times.
You said he yelled at you at spring training.
Yeah,
after
because
you
I threw him a curveball, and he struck him out, and he's yelling at me, save that for the season. Well, I wasn't in his league. I couldn't face him during the season at that point. We later wound up in the same league quite a bit, as he was with Cincinnati, went to Kansas City, was one of the leaders on that ball club. I mean, he was a really tough guy who was a difficult guy in the clutch especially.
What else did he say to you?
That was pretty much it.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, some other things. We're talking about the social unrest in China, I know, but, you know, we don't want to bring that up. As they try to subdue Mr. Smith, who has had himself quite a series.
He can go to Washington. We'd be totally fine. Mallex Smith, by the way, M-A-L-L-E-X, Mallex. And evidently, every kid in his family had an M name. But his mom wanted to name him Alex because there was in their apartment complex a very smart kid named Alex. So the idea was, if I name my kid Alex, throw to second base is there for out number 3. not the smartest decision by Crone to run. We'll see Malik Smith in the 7th. Sox trying to come back.
You send him if he gets thrown out. And if he stays at first, Smith gets a base hit, or let's say Smith makes an out, then you lead off with Ramos. What Kevin Cash wanted was he wants to lead off with Smith with his speed burner to set up the next inning. So he sends Crone, and it really doesn't matter if he's thrown out or not. That's why he ran. That's why he was cut down.
If Smith happens to reach with that base hit, as you're talking about, then he's stuck behind Crone. You can't really use the speed as well either.
And you'd rather have him at the top, because eventually, when Denard Span is no longer with this club, if Smith is, he's going to lead off. He's the ideal leadoff hitter.
Like Ramos got crossed up, just started defending himself as the ball came in.
He's had a tough day, too. He's been hit a few times, and he just shakes it off and keeps on going. It's the outside fastball. Look away, Avi. Oh, didn't want that.
Do the Sox have a 4-run comeback rolling around? 2-0. On the ground, third base, and Duffy scoops it up with a very nice play for out number 1.
Duffy's been a good player on the left side for Tampa. Take another look at it. Nice effort on the backhand. He tries to get as low as he possibly can and pours it across accurately.
One down for Abreu, who is 0 for 5 in the series with 3 strikeouts. Abreu pops it foul for strike 1 here in the 6th. Jason Benetti, Steve Stone, Chuck Garfine along with you, our entire crew from Guaranteed Rate Field.
Chuck is a whole lot warmer today than he's been of recent vintage. I like to see icicles coming off his forehead and things. It's kind of a nice look for him. But today, very comfortable down there.
You are a tough-tempered guy when the windows are closed.
Absolutely.
Do I look comfortable to you?
Oh, you really do, Chuck.
I'm just hanging out here.
Especially the way you've been in recent days. You're very comfortable today.
Look at the look on the poor guy's face.
It's a little chilly out here, although you wouldn't know it.
No, I wouldn't.
No. You guys have a heater up there, too?
Oh, a couple of them. Large heaters.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll be fine down here. I've dealt with snow, rain,
You've seen
wind.
fire and rain also?
Yes. That's a whole other show, though.
Yeah. What's it like down there? Does it feel substantially warmer than the last couple days?
So it started out fine. The key, I'm going to sound like a genius here, it's the sun. When the sun is out, it's actually okay. Now it's a little chilly. My question to you, though, is your heater bigger than the boom box that the White Sox have?
No, it can't be. There are 2 boom boxes. We were talking about this earlier. The Sox are loaded for music in that clubhouse, aren't they?
Yes, Hector Santiago had to one-up Omar Narvaez. Now, Omar Narvaez had the white boombox, which they brought on the road. I'm sure you've seen it. I think they tried to check it through customs in Toronto, if I'm not mistaken.
They did.
And I'm not sure how soon after that happened, but then Omar Narvaez was one-upped by Hector Santiago, who has a bigger one. There is twice as many speakers, and it's red, and it's twice as loud.
Looks like a fire engine that plays music.
Yeah. Big
red boombox. Thanks, Chuck.
You're welcome.
That glowing orb is out again, so it's bound to be warmer soon.
I feel it.
I would say stay in the sun, Chuck. Get out from over the underhang.
It's that Homewood Flossmoor education that I'm using right now.
We Vikings stay warm together. Ball and a strike on Davidson, who's 0 for 1 with a ground out and a walk. Sox down 5-1, and 100 pitch number coming up for Snell.
I'd say it's time for him to take a rest. Kevin Cash wants to get him through 6 if he can. He's 2 outs in the inning already, just 1 left to go, and if he does, they'll probably say nice job, and he will not go out for the next inning, I wouldn't believe.
By the way, Omar Narvaez has grabbed a bat for the Sox in the on-deck circle. Wellington Castillo had that awkward trip to the plate last time when it looked like he fouled the ball off his foot. He went down on the swing. He's still been out there catching, and Davidson takes a walk, his 2nd of the game. Narvaez will bat for Castillo.
Interesting thing for young pitchers. They'll get 2/3 of the way to a 1-2-3 inning, and then something happens. They almost relax and say, well, I got 2 outs, there's nobody on. So it's happened today a couple of times. In fact, 3 times it's happened to Snell, which is the only thing he's really done poorly in this game. But he got 2 quick outs in the 3rd. He got 2 quick outs in the 4th. Now he got 2 quick outs here in the 6th. And that could very well be it for him, as he's at the 102 pitch mark, although normally the pitching coach will say, hey, look, what do you have? Can you do it? And ask him if he feels like he can get out of this inning facing Omar Narvaez in the lefty-lefty matchup. So Kyle Snyder is probably saying this. What he's probably saying is, look, this guy is yours. Get us out of the inning and go as hard as you can, because you're not going out for the next inning. So whatever you have, I want to see it right here. And the young man at 102 pitch is going to reach back, and he's going to get whatever he's got left in the tank, and that's going to be it for him. And normally that is what a pitching coach will tell you when you're 1 out away from getting taken out of the game.
Told you Castillo's coming out of the game for Narvaez. Here's that last at bat.
I don't think it was being hit by the ball, but I think he turned his ankle, and we'll have to see exactly what happened.
Sox had Kevin Smith get injured late in spring training, and now Castillo out of this game. Davidson with his 2nd walk of this game, 8 total for the year for Matt. And a strike to Narvaez, 1-1. Two and one. White Sox games better with a group. Certainly, group events are perfect for clients or employees celebrating or fundraising. Bring your group out for specially priced tickets and a great experience. Start planning your summer outing. 312-674-1000 or visit whitesox.com.
Right knee soreness is what sent Wellington to the shelf. So hopefully that will go away. You got any type of tendonitis or knee soreness, for a catcher, the worst place you can be, because it comes into play each and every moment you're sitting there in a crouch, you got a knee problem, it's going to be real tough for you to catch. So hopefully he heals quickly, because he's been a big part of this team in the early going.
Two. Upstairs, another full count from Snell. Yeah, Sox pitchers have raved about throwing to Wellington Castillo and the veteran presence he's provided behind the plate.
And that's what Ricky said, the same thing. Look, I've got a lot of young pitchers on the mound, and at least for most of the young pitchers, I want a veteran catcher, because he's going to try to ease them through each and every performance.
Davidson at first, 2 out, 3-2 on Omar. And that's inside, ball 4, 5th walk for Snell, and we'll see if that's his final act.
Well, it's Delmonico. It's a lefty-lefty advantage, but at 108 pitch mark, you have to figure if this goes to a lengthy at-bat. We've seen managers take pitchers out in the middle of counts. The last thing he wants to do with a good young pitcher is extend him in the early season, because he's got a bullpen full of guys.
108's a big number after 90 the first time around. Max in a game ever in his career for Snell was May 13th of last year at Boston. He threw 113 times. So if Nicky works this at any length, Snell's going to have thrown his most pitches in his major league career in game 3 of this season for him.
Yeah, the difference is May in the last case, and this is relatively early April.
Called a strike, 1-1.
That was a help.
Oof. One. Wanted to go back there. He did and missed. 2-1. Well, he's no dummy. He got the strike last time, went right back to the same spot. Or thereabouts.
All 3 pitches the same place. You see him right there in a grouping on our pitch cast by Menards.
2-1. Now 2-2, so it is going to be a career high in pitches, at least tying number for Snell today.
That for Nicky was his pitch. After 3 straight fastballs up and out of the zone, he sees one right down the middle and swings through it. He was right on it, fouled it straight back, hoping to get anything but that good Snell breaking ball here.
2 balls, 2 strikes. There's a breaking ball. Delmonico fouls it away.
Well, the last thing that Kevin Cash wanted was extended pitches to both Narvaez and Delmonico. I mean, he wanted to get him out of there, and not having the opportunity because of the lefty-lefty matchup.
But considering the batters and what we know at least about these 2 guys for the Sox, you're likely to have an extended plate appearance with both of them.
Well, neither have been swinging a lot of pitches out of the zone. Omar specifically has got one of the best eyes in baseball.
Fastball for strike 3, and that will do it. So the Sox strand 2. We will go to the 7th inning.
Join Sierra Santos and Luke Stuckmeyer on Facebook Live weeknights at 5 for The Rush, presented by GMC.
Got to get Geddy Lee on that show after his appearance in Toronto.
Big baseball fan, obviously, was there for all the games. He and his brother Bruce.
I don't think they're related. Strike one to Malik Smith. So Kevin Cash gets what he wants, at least in part, as you said, by the caught stealing from Crone. Malik Smith with his fleet feet leading off the 7th inning.
Saladino in close at third. Jose a couple steps in back of the bag at first. A drag bunt, if he's going to bunt, is in order, not a push bunt to third. A little tardy that time, not guessing when it would be and where it would be. But he got a fastball thrown by him.
One and two. On the ground, past the mound. Gotta hurry. Yoan, and not in time. Safe the call at first.
Second hit of the day, and that's why Kevin Cash rolled the dice with Crone. Little chopper in the infield, and Smith is so fast that when this one goes by Hector, who takes his throwing hand out of the equation, nice pick, but it's not in time.
So Malik Smith, 2 for 4 in this game, 6 for 8 in the series. Any chance we could convince him the series is over after today?
He's not going to want to leave after tomorrow's game. Not the way things have gone for him here.
Hector quickly to the plate, misses to Ramos, ball number 1. There is a third game of this series. It is 1:10 tomorrow with James Shields facing his former team, TBA, scheduled for the Rays so far. Moncada got his man, 4-3 on the double play. This is a quirk for Tampa Bay. There have never been any Rays for the Tampa Bay Rays, but here are the war leaders named Ray in the history of Major League Baseball, according to Baseball Reference. Ray Lankford, number 1, ahead of Caldwell and Durham.
And Ray Durham was a very good player for a long time. Started with the Sox.
I know there are a lot of 30-somethings out there that have Ray Durham as their favorite player.
He was a very good player. I can understand that.
You saw Ray Lankford for a while.
I did. Good player also. Mostly with St. Louis.
Blake Snell looks like he's going to be done after 6 innings and 10 strikeouts. That one lofted to the right side by Echeverria. Javi Garcia with the catch for out number 3. Hector quickly through the 7th. And at stretch time, the Sox need some runs.
6 innings, 1 hit, 1 run, 10 strikeouts, 5 walks, and Kittredge comes in to try to hold him right there. On for the 4th time. He's 0-2, so he hasn't had a whole lot of luck, but a respectable ERA at 3.52. You see the strikeouts, not overwhelming, and he's got a 5-1 lead to protect. So we're going to see a slider and see what he's got.
And there's strike 1. It goes to Tim Anderson, who struck out twice against Snell.
Do you want to get on my shoulders, or should I get on you to interview Will Perdue?
Will Perdue has stepped into the booth, and I think he's grown since the last time I saw him. 7'9" now. Unbelievable. Great to see Will. On the ground, and the Rays have shifted properly. There's out number 1. Quite the feat for Max Scherzer last night around Major League Baseball. Number of good things from pitchers. Last night, Scherzer with one of his massive strikeout performances. And by the way, he's got wheels.
Well, he threw a surprise party, and he made it without an attempt. How about Max? One of the baseball's best. Elevated fastball. Everybody seems to be using it. And Scherzer's stuff is magnificent.
I just like that he's got some gumption to take that bag at second base.
He joins Nolan Ryan in a very exclusive club.
10 strikeouts and a stolen base in a win.
Yes.
For a pitcher.
And the distance.
You never did that?
No. I couldn't strike out 10, and I had no stolen base ability.
But other than that,
I was right there with those other 2.
Yeah. Tyler Saladino is having quite the day. In fact, he's got all the hits for the Sox. That was on 2 strikes, by the way.
Time now for our Xfinity high-speed action. Let's take a look at the high-speed action, which is powered coincidentally by Xfinity. This one hopping out of the ballpark, putting runners in second, third at the time, led to 1 run. Tyler having a good day, both with the defense and the offense. And now he's got a pair of those hits, by the way.
Well, you called it in his last at bat.
Yep. Just felt that he was the guy, right man, right spot, to break up the no-no.
And he did. As Adam Engel takes the first pitch. Sox came into this game 2 for their last 27 with runners in scoring position. So let's see if there's a rally or 2 left in these sticks today.
Fans in the stands once again saying no way, but look, Gary Cederstrom is calling the high strike. Most umpires are all year. Cederstrom has been consistent. If it's in the zone, if it's high, he calls it a strike. That's not going to change because he's been that way all afternoon.
That's inside, so 2-1, but it's been a trend through Major League Baseball the first couple weeks of this season. That high strike is going to be there, and by the letter of the rule, it is a strike.
It is a strike. Hasn't been called for years, but it's being called this year, so hitters at this point should be well aware that if they take that, it's at their peril.
2-1 from Kittredge. Engel fouls it back. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Watch every out-of-market regular season game live at home or on the go. MLB.TV has it for you. Your subscription includes MLB At Bat Premium. You can watch live baseball on your favorite supported devices. Blackout and other restrictions apply. Visit MLB.TV for details. 2-2 for Adam Engel. Well hit up the middle, second base. Dropped by Wendell. Saladino held up at first and gets tagged out. So Engel to first, 2 down.
No chance for Tyler because the play's in front of him. All Wendell had to do was just knock it down and wait for the arrival of Saladino, which he did put the tag on. And a hard hit ball goes for naught.
Yeah, no real options there for Tyler.
No.
So 2 down, Moncada up. And for the first time today, Yohan bats from the left-hand side. And grounds it past second base. Wendell couldn't flag that one down. Sox have runners at first and third with 2 out here in the 7th inning, and Avi coming up.
After 3 straight strikeouts, he gets rewarded with a base hit. That's the first play that Wendell had a chance to make and didn't. So this slider hangs on the inside part. Joey Wendell goes to his left, making a good effort, getting there, but just not able to corral the baseball. That actually went between his glove and his foot, which means he overran a ground ball, which is kind of unusual, but we'll take it.
First and third, 2 out. Garcia, then Abreu, 7th inning. Sox need 4 to tie. Broken bat, flare to left field, and that will do it. Denard Span with the catch, and the inning comes to an end. Sox have left 7 all since the 3rd inning, 5-1.
He was brilliant today. 10 strikeouts, 6 innings, has 1 run on 1 hit, and was in command from start to finish. Extended himself a career high in pitches. However, Kevin Cash wanted him to get the 2 left-handers. He got 1 of 2 out of the inning, preserving the lead, and a fine day for Blake Snell.
Sox would rather not see him ever again. If he got traded to, I don't know, the NFL, that would be good.
Well, on the bright side, this is their first earned run ever against Snell in his very brief but very effective career.
You are always glass half full.
I'm one of those guys. My middle name is Positive, so Stephen P. Stone. I always see a bright light in all of the darkness that you shed in the booth.
What I didn't mention is you see the glasses half full when it's actually 3/4 full.
Well, that's true. Yeah, that's it.
It's a neat trick.
Yeah, that's the ticket.
Morgan Fairchild, right?
No, John Lovitz.
Yeah.
I remember him.
2 strikes on Robertson. Santiago, as we mentioned, here to clean up some innings for the Sox out of the bullpen as the bridge to the final innings in games this year. In the air to Abreu, 1 down.
You know, you're not going to get a lot of accolades in the spot that Santiago is filling because he's probably not going to get many decisions. He's going to come in when the game is seemingly going out of hand to hold them down, to eat up some innings, to protect the bullpen. And bear in mind, there's not a whole lot of days off coming up. So with that in mind, Hector Santiago saving the other guys in the pen. It's a tough role because he's a lifetime starter, but a role he relishes at this stage of his career. And I talked to him. He said, I just want to pitch. I want to take the ball, and I want to take it in any circumstances. And I will always take the ball, which is one of the reasons why he's here. This is the 3rd time, by the way, that he came into ball games that were just about getting out of hand held the other team pretty close, and ate up some critical innings that would have gone to other people in that pen.
Well, and you know, coming out of the bullpen, which he didn't do for all that long, but managers want reliability. They want to know what they're going to get. They don't want 0 one day and then 4 the next day. They want to know, okay, if you're going to give one up, give one up.
And without exception, it's get the ball over the plate.
Yeah.
Get the ball over the plate, they can live with hits, they can live with runs, they can't live with walks and hit batsmen.
Close pitch. 3-0 on Denard Span, whose first name is actually Kiunta. Kiunta Denard Span. He goes by his middle name. That would make you positive, Stone. Ball 4, 1 on, 1 out for Wendell.
So his first name is Yenta?
No, Kiunta.
Oh, I see. It's hard for me to pronounce that. I'll just call him Span.
Great.
I don't get any anymore in my phone and whatever that is that you made me buy.
It's a tablet, like you used to chisel into when you first learned the language. Here's Wendell.
That's another age joke, thanks.
You're welcome. That glass is always full. Teams come to town. If you haven't seen a guy, you say, oh, I wonder what he's going to play like. And you see the numbers on Joey Wendell. Hadn't played a whole lot with Oakland the past couple of years. Has been traded now twice in his career. And for my money, he's been pretty impressive in this series.
It's been a great series for him because he's done just about everything right. We've seen him with a little power. He was hitting in the neighborhood of 340 coming in. That's up a bit. So it's been a good start of the year for Wendell.
It's Gregory Infante loosening up in the White Sox bullpen. And a throw to first on Span. Another throw to first.
I've seen some pitchers do that a lot, where a flat-footed throw to first base from a left-hander is very effective. But to do that, you have to have a very strong arm because you're not taking a step.
Three balls, no strikes. Second straight 3-0 count from Santiago.
And with the pen up and going, Ricky Renteria is not going to allow Santiago to go too much deeper in this game if he doesn't get people out.
Yeah, Ricky's got no interest in a code red here in the 8th.
No, and in fact, it could be that he's not going to let him face Gomez. But a double play will take care of that. See the bullpen for the Rays. Matt Andriese and company.
Matt Andriese was one of the guys who gave up the lead on Sunday in Boston. As that misses, allegedly, ball 4. So 2 on, 1 out. Wendell's 3rd walk of the game. And a meeting of the minds at the mound, as here comes the skipper of the Sox. Gregory Infante is on the way in. 2 on, 1 out. And let's tell you about what happened this day in history. It is April 10th, 2018. Here's what has gone on. Opening day in Detroit, Nellie Fox 5 for 7. JFK threw out the last first pitch at Griffith Stadium. It was a 4-3 win for the Sox, and there is John F. Kennedy getting the glove and tossing out the first pitch.
That's pretty good. That's pretty good toss for the president. Jungle Jim Rivera caught the ball.
That was a different first pitch as we take a look at Carlton Fisk's home run in 1981.
Here he goes! Get right back! Please get me! It is! Holy cow! Carlton Fisk has put the White Sox ahead. A line drive. I was afraid it might not get up high enough. And the White Sox lead. Look at Fisk.
There it was, Carlton Fisk. And by the way, I mentioned Ron LaFleur.
Yes.
He was hitting ahead of Carlton Fisk in the lineup that day. He
How about
scored
that?
on the home run.
A foreshadowing. Way to go.
Or LaFleur shadowing, actually. That was the first home run for Carlton Fisk back at Fenway Park as a member of the White Sox.
So Gregory Infante comes in the ball game to try to stem the tide. On for the 6th time. The ERA is steadily decreasing. But left-handers have torched him a bit.
I was going to say that first pitch by John F. Kennedy. We have changed the mechanism of the first pitch since then. There you just take it and you just chuck it into a group of people. Now we have this ceremonial first pitch from the mound. It's much safer that way. I kind of like that.
Yeah, the scrum. Yeah, that's pretty good.
Just throw it.
It's all fun and games until somebody gets spiked, Pally.
It's true. That's our slogan here in this booth. 2 on, 1 out for Gomez, who homered on a dart in the 6th inning. Told you that Brad Miller went on the disabled list before this series. Ryan Weber, who was called up to replace Miller, is also now throwing in the Rays bullpen. And there are Weber and Andries. All we need is a Lloyd throwing for the Rays. We would have Andries, Lloyd, Weber.
That would necessitate 3 mounds.
Throw to second. Nice tag. Oh, just missed.
Moncada did a nice job of corralling it and putting on the tag with a little contact between the 2 guys. Good solid throw to second base. If it's not a little bit high and wide, it probably gets him. Watch it again. If this is on the money, Span is out. It's not, and he's not.
To right field and falling quickly. Stop sign at third for Span. Wendell to second. Gomez at first. Base is loaded for Tampa Bay here in the 8th. How about a ground ball? You think?
Right man for the spot. Although Crone hits a lot of fly balls, taking advantage of his power, but if he does hit the ball on the ground, it's 2 and out of the inning. Infield straight away, outfield straight up. Angle, not all that deep in center field. Crone has some big pop.
And a massive swing there at 94, 0-1. Span, Wendell, and Gomez on for Tampa Bay. Sox hoping to level the series. Tampa Bay won yesterday by a count of 5-4. Crone is not on Infante right now.
No, that was a good pitch. Perfect spot. Was a fastball. He put it exactly where Crone does not want it, which is low and away, just about knee high. So he's in a hole, and this is where Omar, if he calls a breaking ball, he better be ready to go down. But looks like a high fastball to me. Let's see.
It is, and down goes Crone. 2 down here in the 8th.
Threw that high fastball right by him. Good call by Omar, who's taken over for Wellington Castillo, who left. And if you didn't hear, he's got a sore knee. Hopefully it'll be day to day and nothing else will come of it. But he rapidly dispatches Crone. Now you got to win your way by Duffy, who's a little tougher to strike out.
Ball one to Duffy, who's 3 for 9 in the series. All 3 hits are singles.
Tomorrow, Tampa Bay ends the homestand, and it's off to Minnesota, where 4 straight with the Twins, weather permitting, and then out to Oakland. And we'll see the A's and Bob Melvin 3 straight, 16th through the 18th, and it's back home for an off day before Houston comes to town.
Oh, those Astros, 9-2 to start the year.
I tried very hard to look for some holes in that pitching staff and that lineup. There aren't any.
Not there.
No, they're very strong. And yet, the Angels staying right there with them.
Well, Shohei Ohtani right now and what he's doing with that nasty splitter he's throwing for the Angels, and what he's doing with the bat is Babe Ruth like.
Well, 100-mile-an-hour fastball, splitter, curve combo, both for strikes, both disappearing. He's got real stuff. I mean, as a hitter, he didn't show it in Arizona, but he's showing it now, homering in 3 straight games. So we have our Babe Ruth. He came from the Far East, but if he can continue to do what he's doing, it will be the biggest story of the year internationally in baseball, because I don't think anybody thought there was a guy that could do what Ruth did so many years ago. You know, for a long time, he had the World Series record for consecutive scoreless innings.
Chop to third, right at the bag. Very convenient for Sally, and there is out number 3. So the Rays have left him loaded 3 times in this game. Can the Sox take advantage? Joining us. Hi, Will.
Hello. Hey, so real quick, is Layla actually in the studio, or is she out in the craft cave in right field?
She's in the studio, but it's a really good question. You never know with Layla. How you been?
I've been doing well.
Good.
Do people know about our relationship?
Oh, I don't know.
Are you
Should we
announcing
tell
it tonight, or?
Wait.
I mean, just exactly what is this, Will?
I got to work with him for the first time this year.
Oh my God! And you're still broadcasting?
I got in 10 words the whole game.
It's terrific, yeah.
Oh, well, it was radio, so I was hoping for the under on 10 words. That's how I get when it's radio. We're in Morgantown, West Virginia, and possibly the snowiest night they've had in many a year.
I trusted him as our driver.
It got ugly.
Mistake.
Oh, you already have to come back. Sox have a hit. Jose Abreu going for 2, and he is in there. Thank you for the trust.
I heard great things about you. The one thing, and I'll ask you this question, Steve, how does a guy his size eat so much?
What?
Well, you notice, and if you did, you notice he never eats a lot when he's paying, but he eats an awful lot when someone else is.
You mean Mr. Alligator Arms?
Well, for a scrappy little guy, I mean, he can really eat. We went to a restaurant, the Brazilian Steakhouse, the other day, and I got to tell you something. They have banned him from the steakhouse.
Great fun to be with you guys. Will Perdue and Steve Stone, ladies and gentlemen.
Meantime, Matt Andres has come in the ball game to try to nail it down, but an ominous start for Andres.
You're a big Sox fan, right, Will?
Yes, I am.
You've been here.
I was sitting right below the booth in 2005.
Is that right?
In the weather, wearing my rain gear. And I said, you know, it'd be really nice if Konerko could put one out here.
You said that?
And he did just that. But I think everybody in the park was saying that. It wasn't like I was just like, I had a premonition. I mean, come on. But yes, I am. That's my favorite sport, honestly.
Is it really?
Yeah.
He had a big strike zone.
That was the problem.
How long did you play?
I played up until 9th grade. I mean, I tell the story all the time. I think you and I had the conversation when we were having dinner. And even though we did the game in Morgantown, we stayed at a hotel in Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
We were having dinner. When I was in awe of how much he was eating, I told him I was the kid that was using the wooden bat in Babe Ruth as a 12 and 13-year-old, because I was like, why am I going to use an aluminum bat when I have to use a wooden bat when I get to the majors?
Well thought out.
So when I was hitting singles and doubles and stealing bases, everybody else was hitting home runs with aluminum bats. So I had a great on-base percentage and a great batting average, but didn't have a lot of RBIs.
When did you grow?
I actually grew in high school. I went from 6'1" to 6'10" in 3 years.
Wow.
So I was also 195 pounds, and I could stand sideways behind a stop sign. You wouldn't see me.
You got a rally in you for today?
I do. That's why I'm here. And that's why I'm sticking around. I haven't left yet for that one reason. I believe in staying till the end. Which is why I'm still calling Bulls game. We've got game 82 tomorrow.
That's true.
So.
You happy with the young guys' progress over there?
I am. I would have liked to have seen a little more of Markkanen and Dunn. I mean, not Markkanen, but Levine and Dunn. But I'll tell you what, man, Markkanen is a special player. And now what we have to do, and I say we like I'm part of the organization, but I would love to see I'd love to see the fans buy into what the Bulls are doing, like the Sox fans have bought in to what's going on here. As far as when I talk to a Sox fan, and I actually have my future brother-in-law behind us, he's bought in. He believes in what this organization is doing. He believes that you stand with the younger players. They got a great farm system, and now it's just time, patience. And I think, there are certain organizations in the NBA and in Major League Baseball. Once you win a championship, the expectation level has been raised. Now, when you win 6 of them, it's even more so. And I think the fans have gotten a little antsy, but quite honestly, I mean, we're 1-2 players away from being relevant again, quite honestly. And I don't think fans see that. And that's unfortunate.
Well, all they have to do is look to the north side, because there was a rebuild there. I call it the deconstruction before the reconstruction. Nobody's ever won by trading away most of their starting rotation and most of their effective bullpen guys. You don't win for a couple of years when you do that, and the Sox knew they had to take 2 steps back to make 5 steps forward, and that's what they're in the process of doing.
And here's a perfect example. We know how fans and organizations despise acknowledging a crosstown rival.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
And when Kevin and I came early and we're grabbing some grub prior to the game, in his office is all Cubs fans, and he made the statement that the Cubs fans are even buying into what the Sox are doing, as far as they're acknowledging that the young players are really good, and there's going to be a time, and we can all hope that this absolutely is the case, that these 2 teams are in the World Series playing each other.
I mean, how wild would that be? I've had the same experience, and I've heard from some other folks too, that somebody, I was walking by somebody a couple weeks ago on the street, and they said, hey, go Sox. And I turned around and said, go Sox. And I looked, and the guy was wearing a Cub hat. And I thought, wait, what's going on? So I stopped him, and I said, what are you talking about? We got to get you a new hat. And he said, look, the way you guys are doing it is the right way. And so there are people buying in on both sides, which is nice. And again, the end result, hopefully, is just great baseball in Chicago.
I agree with you 100%, because, I mean, it just, you talk about how cool it would be, but just how epic it would be for that to happen.
Tickets wouldn't be cheap.
Well, you wouldn't have to worry about that, would you now?
I don't know, Will.
I will tell you, in 2020, I know how good the Sox are going to be. I don't know how good the Cubs are going to be, and they obviously have a running start because they did their tear down and rebuild a lot sooner than the Sox did. So we're in the same situation they were in. It led to a world championship with them. It's going to lead to a World Series here, and then you never know. You run into a hot pitcher or two, or you get a hot pitcher or two, and that determines the winner of the World Series. Not always the best team gets there, not always the best team that wins, as illustrated by the Cardinals a few years back that won 83 games and won the World Series.
And if you're, and I won't say I'm a lifelong Sox fan because I grew up in Florida, so quite honestly, as a youngster, I was rooting for the Braves and the Cubs. Why? Because those were the only two teams that were on national television. And outside of Joe Garagiola on Saturday afternoons, those were the only teams you saw on a regular basis. Now moving here, I'm not from here, so I'm still a Cubs fan, but I'm more of a Sox fan because of the fact that when I was drafted, Jerry said, hey, come down here and watch a game anytime. And I came, and I used to hang out in the locker room and talk with Ozzie and Frank and a guy I went to school with by the name of Joey Cora was on the roster. Yeah. And you become fans. And that's one of the reasons why I was here. I was watching another Vandy guy today, but unfortunately he didn't do as well as he did in his first appearance.
Yeah, he's got real good stuff. Just the command wasn't there today.
Was it? How much of it was command, and how much of it was inability of the umpire to buy into the? Because now, I understand fans are.
You are a fan.
Wait a second. Was that that a question, or because it was a question? It was forget about anything else but release point and location. Umpire had nothing to do with it.
But I just heard
Carson just had no rhythm. He had no rhythm today.
You know, it's kind of funny, and Jerry mentioned that he was doing a lot of walking in between pitches, too much time in between pitches. And I remember at Vanderbilt, and I remember the College World Series in Nebraska watching him when he was struggling against Virginia doing the same exact thing.
You stick around for one more half inning?
Absolutely.
All right, Will Perdue will be back. He says he's got a rally for us, 5-1.
Continues against the Rays. Coverage begins at 12:30 with White Sox pregame live. Or if you're stuck at home, unstick yourself and go stream the game live on NBC Sports. Get the app.
Don't want to be stuck at home. That's why Will Perdue's here.
I would have come tomorrow. I might sneak in tomorrow too before I have to go to work, but then Layla might scold me.
She wouldn't do that.
Oh, she doesn't. She wouldn't hesitate.
She run a tight ship, does she?
Oh, she doesn't like it when other people are out having fun and she's working.
Oh, is that how it works?
Oh, yeah.
Ah, how about that?
But she loves her job, I will say that.
She's good at what she does.
Yes. Can I tell a story?
Yeah, please.
So the first time, do you remember the first time we ever met, Steve?
I do. I think it was horseback riding in Tanzania.
Oh, I thought it was sharing a meatball sub like you guys were talking about yesterday.
And your horse was struggling, I got to tell you that.
We met in Vegas. Do you remember where?
Let's say in a casino.
No.
Uh-oh. Then don't say anything.
Oh, boy.
No.
Stay tuned for this, folks.
On an escalator.
Exactly.
I was in back of you. You looked like you were 15 feet tall. And then how long ago was that?
That had to be 20 years.
You didn't think I'd remember that?
I didn't.
You were the biggest man I had ever seen.
I think you were there for winter meetings or something?
Yeah, absolutely. I went to all the winter meetings.
So when I played, I used to go to Vegas during All-Star break.
Okay.
And there's certain people that you just stick out. And he used to work on the north side.
Yeah.
And I remember I get to Vegas, I'm on the escalator, and he's talking to somebody, and it's just into my head, it goes, "That's Mr. Stone." I turn around, and I was like, "Hey, how you doing, man? I watch you all the time." And I shook his hand. I mean, that made my whole trip to Vegas.
Well, thank you. That's very
I think
nice
I
of you.
actually won then.
You did?
I sent you a cut. Did you not get that?
No, I didn't, but there's still plenty of time. I will tell you that. I'll be here for a while, so anytime you want to drop that off.
But it's just there's certain people that you associate, and you're one of the voices I associate with baseball.
Thank you. Thank you.
I mean, you've devoted your life to it.
Well, I couldn't believe it because I was on the couple steps behind you, and I looked down and could not see the rest of the escalator for Will Perdue standing there, and I thought, wow, that's a tall guy, and they turned around. It was Will Perdue. How about that?
Chuck has a story he wants to tell.
Go get him, Chuck.
Hey, Will, do you remember the first time we met? You won't remember, I don't think.
Was it in Joliet, Chuck?
It was not in Joliet. It was in Los Angeles. I believe the year was 1989. Did you get drafted by the Bulls in 89?
88.
In 88. So it was the summer of 88. You were just drafted by the Bulls. You're playing in the summer league at what? Loyola Marymount University?
That's right. Yep.
My sister went to Vanderbilt.
We had that discussion, yes.
Wait, you do remember this?
I don't know. I remember we talked about this when I started working for, back when it was Comcast, now NBC Sports Chicago. You mentioned that your sister went to Vanderbilt, but I do not remember what you're talking about, but continue.
So I asked you if you knew my sister, Debbie Garfine, and you said no.
Boy, that's enticing, Chuck. Nice story.
But that was the first time I met you, and I watched you play in the summer league game.
And, see, that's what I like, a fan. He went to a summer league game.
I went to a summer league game to watch the Bulls play in 1988
You know
in
how
LA.
bad some of those games are, summer league games?
Yeah, but I was so close to all those players. It was great to see that.
And now I get to work with this guy.
Will, how could you not remember that conversation? It was so memorable. Do you know my sister? No.
What should I lie to him and be like, oh, absolutely.
Yeah, I met her once over at
You're the one with the sister. I remember that.
Yeah.
It was more of my stupid question that I asked him, but it's something that I've remembered for 20 years or 30 years.
Well, I'm glad to see he's learned from his mistakes in the past, and look where it got him.
It's true. Downstairs in the cold. He's been a trooper, Will.
I didn't realize I've been, we got in the box, we have the game going on. I didn't realize that he was outside today.
Oh, yeah.
I thought he was tucked away just in a different box to make it sound like he was outside.
No, Chuck's an Iron Man.
I'm here.
Absolutely an Iron Man.
I noticed when they showed you got gloves on, the whole thing. You got a little space heater down there?
No space heater. I'm just with the natural environment, the natural outdoors. I almost got hit by that ground ball by Ramos.
Did you really?
Yeah, that's close. That's the closest. That's my biggest concern about this job is getting hit by a baseball.
Well, you have the hands of a sturgeon. That's why you should worry. But get out of the way, Chuck. Don't try to catch anything.
Pitch inside, throw down to second is in time. Nicely done by Omar. Malik Smith with great speed, chopped down by Narvaez.
That was as much a throw as the tag, and we'll take a look at Moncada, who has mastered the quick tag. He comes straight down with it, almost coming down as he catches it. He gets it, watch, bang, right on him, gets him at second base, and well tagged. Yohan, nice job. Straddling the bag in perfect spot. Boom, you're out. We'll talk to you next series, or tomorrow if it comes up first.
So how many of these players, now I saw this yesterday, how many of these players are wearing those gloves? They look like special gloves now that they use.
Base stealing, so they don't hook or bend a finger on the side.
It actually looks like a winter mitten or something.
And that'll keep it so that you don't dislocate any of your fingers or break any of your fingers. And a lot of guys wear them on just one hand. Usually, depending on lefty or righty, they'll wear them on that hand that they slide with first.
Best news is if the turkey's ready mid-game, they can just go to the oven and pull it out too.
You see what I'm talking about? I mean, everything relates to food.
And you worked with him
once,
briefly, and
he
then
made a phone call.
Never again.
He made a phone call. Said, "Look, this ain't gonna work. I'm not driving in the snow with him ever again."
No, he took care of us, and we had great conversation. I thoroughly enjoyed working with him. He's the ultimate professional.
Wow. Thank you.
And I actually enjoy listening to him on the Sox broadcasts, and I'm really glad that he allows you to speak it occasionally.
Here, Jason told me to give you 20 for that. you delivered it just as he wrote it, so nice job, Will. Way to go. And, you know, this will be coming your way when you pay me part of that winnings that you had from 20 years ago.
Yeah, so the other component, the other connection that you and I have, as that ball
Chuck's
is into
sister?
left field. Yeah, Chuck, you got a sister? So you were in the airport, what, month and a half ago or something?
Yeah.
And you ran into Zach Birdie's dad.
Yep.
In the Louisville airport, and Zach's dad was talking smack about how I lost in video games to Zach. Is that right?
That's correct.
Yeah.
So then I had to text you if this was true, and then you stepped up and admitted, said yes, true story.
Yeah.
And then I saw you at Midway about a month ago.
Yeah.
I think you were headed to do a Big Ten game.
Yeah, I think I was going to Maryland or something. You were going home, right?
But then I think you were going to Arizona from there, were you not?
That's right. That's right.
So, I mean, I felt some guy kept pushing me, like, excuse me.
Yeah, hey, big dude, get out of the way.
Like he was in a hurry or something.
Yeah, that's how I do it. Will Perdue with us. Jason Benetti, Steve Stone, Chuck Garfine, and Chuck's family downstairs.
Aaron Bummer throwing in the pen.
But I will say yesterday when I was listening to the game, I was doing my prep work for the Bulls game, and I had on the Sox game in the background. And I do appreciate, Steve, you mentioning the higher strike zone, because I was complaining a little bit. I was like, man, that was a little high. But then you talked about how they were trying to make the initiative about, hey, the strike zone is technically from the bottom of the armpits down to the top of the knee, and the strike zone needs to be the same for every umpire. The umpire doesn't need to adjust the strike zone. You know, every umpire, regardless of who it is, should have the same strike zone.
Into the crowd, and Jose.
Well, he was looking for interference, but when you lean in, when that ball leaves the field of play, you're not going to get that call too often. That's what happened. The wind taking it that way, Jose over toward the railing, reaching as far as he could reach.
Oh, that's a Rays fan.
And it hit him right off the shoulder.
But once he...
Eric Cooper is saying, look, that ball was in the stands. You can go get it, but we're not going to call interference on it.
But once you lean over the rail, you're in no man's land, correct?
Well, you're in Tampa Bay land in this case. He's going, what? Me? What can I do? He's a team guy.
But for basketball terms, it's basically at that point a jump ball.
It is.
Yeah.
We have somebody tweeting in, by the way, who claims that he went to your basketball camp, and you told him that the toughest player to guard was Kevin Garnett. Does that sound like you?
I always said Keem Olajuwon.
Yeah.
Because he just had such great superior footwork. And it was just, he was one of those guys, like you played Ewing or Shaq. You kind of knew what they were going to do. You just had to try to figure out how to stop it. Olajuwon, you really never knew what he was going to do. He had so many moves, and he had perfected so many moves with his just unbelievable footwork.
Robertson drives in a run. Ramos is home. 6-1 Tampa Bay.
That's going to be it for Infante, as Aaron Bummer is going to come in this game. Ricky has already signaled to the pen, and as he strolls in, we'll stroll out and be back after these messages.
in pitching cages, base running areas, and skill instruction from Chicago White Sox Training Academy coaches. Check out the latest Xfinity technology, including the X1 platform. X1 by Xfinity. It'll change the way you experience TV. My amiable partner has something to tell you about the bullpen.
Oh, it's the Lakeside Bank call to the pen. And once again, Aaron Bummer coming in to try to hold them right there. That all-important 7th run, trying to keep it off the board. Sox trailing by 5. Tampa Bay was struggling offensively till they came into this series. Have been swinging the bat very well. Today, no exception.
We're joined by Will Perdue, former Bulls great, hanging out with us for final inning here. And if you want to sneak into the United Center tonight, there's a big Beyond the Diamond dinner for the Sox.
Oh, really?
You want to sneak in?
On my knees?
Well, you don't have. We can actually open the door for you.
They've had a basketball player, too, in there, you know. But one question for you before we let you go, and that is, talk to our young athletes listening today. You did it in a different sport. I did it in baseball. What is the one piece of advice you can give to a young athlete today that will help him on his way, preparing him for life, as opposed to just athletics?
I think it's focus, about identifying your priorities and then focusing on those priorities. And that's one thing that I've noticed in any sport. And I think that's kind of where I think kids, there's so much out there and there's so much going on. You know, they struggle to concentrate, they struggle to focus and really identify what it is they really enjoy and what they really like. And if you can identify that and then focus on that and then work within the structure of whether it's baseball, basketball, a musical instrument, something of that nature, I think you can succeed, quite honestly.
And for me, Will, the one thing is, look, it's infinitesimal, the odds of you making it to the NBA or me making it to the major leagues. My feeling is get an education. If you make it to professional sports, then you will. If not, that education will help you for the rest of your life. And if you don't get it and then you don't make it, you've got some big problems. I tell every youth group I talk to, get your education. You worry about the athletics, because when you look at the odds, they are terribly stacked against you. Just the elite get there.
1% of all college athletes make it to the next level. So that's baseball, basketball, football, hockey, you name it, 1%. So, you know, when I speak, like you're talking about, when I speak to camps and a camp's got 200 kids in it, I go, in all reality, none of you in this room will make it to the next level. And they're all like, oh, no, I'm going to the next level. I was like, if you can use this as a vehicle to get a free education, do it. And then make the best of it. And it's interesting you mentioned, I was talking to Jerry about, you know, with the one and done rule with basketball, and he's like, I like what they do in baseball, 3 years.
People don't realize one thing, and Jerry has a good idea, because I feel the same way, because you get most of your education. You also mature as a human being, not just as a basketball or baseball player. But I felt that with the odds against it being so great, that you have to be unidimensional in your pursuit of a goal, because you're competing against the world. It used to be you're only competing against people in this country, but not anymore. Not in basketball, not in hockey, not in baseball. And that's the end of the inning, mercifully.
Will, thank you for dropping by.
Well, I appreciate it. Hopefully we can work again together sometime.
You know what? You're the one that made the phone call. Great to see you. I hope so, too. 6-1 your score.
One game remaining. It came in the 6th inning, and he just cranks it. See the high leg kick, and that one got out. A no-doubter. 109.1 exit velocity, launch angle 20 degrees, and hit it 424 on a cool day. So a nice job. And the Rays, by and large, have done a nice job. And we got a new pitcher coming into the ball game. It is Ryan Weber. We talked about him before. He's been pretty good, 2.45 ERA, but a small sample. 3 2/3 innings, no walks, no strikeouts. That's very good in left-handers. Hitting 125, which means he's got a pretty good changeup.
He's at a St. Petersburg College. He's one of 3 Tampa-born Rays in history.
Wow.
Good to see Will Perdue, a wonderful man.
He's a very nice man. And anyone that will get in Chuck's kitchen is a hero of mine.
1-1, fouled away by Anderson. One and 2 on Anderson. Let me correct myself. Weber is the 3rd St. Pete born, not Tampa. St. Pete born Tampa Bay Ray.
A worthy distinction.
Yeah, thank you.
You know, we're going to be down there in St. Petersburg at the haunted hotel, by the way. Just so you know.
It's haunted?
Yes.
Why?
Because I'm sending Casper to your room.
Casper Wells? Third base side. That's a fair ball for Tim Anderson. And he's on his way to second base.
Nice job of squeezing this ball down the line. Duffy tried to make an attempt, but he's well off the line. It's not a situation for no double set. They do have a big lead. This one ticks off the glove, and Tim was thinking about 3 bases and realized you're down big in this one. Don't get adventuresome as he comes up with a double.
Chuck?
You guys were talking about the haunted hotel.
Yes.
They still stay at the Vinoy?
Yes.
Oh, that's haunted.
It is indeed.
I, in fact, did a story on this. I spoke to a ghost expert in Tampa, and she gave me, well, as much proof as you can give that it is haunted. There are some Major League players who do not want to even stay in that hotel because they believe it's haunted.
There are some players who actually, for the first time in years, will have a roommate in that hotel because of the fact that there are some, or they believe there are some extra folks around that are not invited to their room but wound up there.
What proof did you have, Chuck?
Well, first off, I can tell you that Nick Swisher, when he played for the White Sox, would not stay there. He stayed at Toby Hall's house.
Okay.
Should I throw Brian Anderson under the bus?
Yeah, do it.
Brian Anderson and Carlos Quinton were so spooked they were not supposed to be in the same room. They were in the same room because they thought it was haunted.
Wow, they roomed together.
They roomed together.
How about that? Tim's off. Coming your way, Chuck. He's safe. 6 for 6 in bags this year for Tim Anderson.
Duffy had the glove on him and kept the glove on him, and finally Tim just swatted it away. Take another look. He's got the green light anytime he wants it, and he's in ahead of the tag. The only question is, could he anchor the bag? And Duffy wisely kept the tag on him. We'll watch it again. Looks like he kept the finger on the bag.
And so Yolmer pinch hitting, swings through the 2-0. The only question I would have had was is the tag on the entire time? But
moot point.
The ship has sailed.
Yes. No appeal at this point.
2-1 to Sanchez. In the air, should get the run home. Tim's tagging. He's coming to the plate. The throw is late, and the Sox are back on the board. A sac fly for Yolmer.
We've seen it a couple of times this year where Tim Anderson runs the boys into a run with sheer speed. And so Yomer picks up a sacrifice fly. He's having a great start in driving in runs. He's been a consequential hitter on this team. And Yomer cuts the lead to 6-2.
Now the Sox will use their final bench player as Larry Garcia comes on. Yomer gets a fist pound from most of the team. And Garcia for Engel. Adam did drive in a run. And this ground ball is bobbled. Save! Garcia beat it out. Well, it's been a great series for Wendell, but this time he mishandled, and the Sox have life here in the ninth.
A lot of infielders just want to make a bit of a charge to the ball. Wendell waits back. And by waiting back, it hits him off the glove and then the leg and cannot regroup before he's safe. So the good speed of Lurie gets him into first base, and this thing's still alive. 2 outs left and some life.
Well, you've got the top of the order, Yoan Moncada. Leadoff double from Tim. He came around in the sacrifice fly. Right now, Jose would be the tying run coming up after Avi Garcia. Two balls and a strike on Moncada. Larry Garcia at first on the error by Wendell. That one's outside. 3 balls, 1 strike.
You don't have to win it. All you have to do is get on base. Keep grinding and getting on base. Yoan can be very patient. He does have a lot of long at-bats. You look at Kevin Cash, who is starting to look worried for the first time today.
Good pitch to hit. Moncada makes it 3-2.
It's Colomé, Alex Colomé, their closer, getting loosened up in the pen. We've seen him once. He was a little shaky, but he got the job done in the opener of the series. That's very good stuff.
Yes, he does. This is Moncada's 3rd full count of the day. 2 strikeouts so far. 3 balls, 2 strikes. Outside, ball 4. Walk number 6 today for the Sox. Now Avi Garcia searching for his first hit of the series.
And not wanting to leave anything to chance, Kevin Cash is going to go to his closer. So Weber is out. Colomé is in. We'll take the break and be back after these messages. He's a hard thrower. 5 games, the ERA is up there. Blown a couple of saves. He's been .500 in save opportunities, but he's a whole lot better than that. Last year, he had just a great year. When you save in the high 40s, you're getting the job done. Colomé will do that routinely.
Rally caps on. Rally winter hat on. Rally foam fingers. Rally sunglasses. Rally everything. Sox need a base runner, then a bomb. Two on, 1 out. Avi 0 for 3 all time against Colomé. And strike 1. All 3 at bats led to balls in play. No walks, no strikeouts between Colomé and Avisail Garcia so far, career. A chilly April Tuesday. Can the Sox turn it upside down? Oh, 1. Now 0-2.
Both pitches out of the zone, but that slider breaks so sharply that you can't identify where it's going. So it identifies to your hitter's eye as a fastball down and away and then just disappears. That's what makes Colomé as tough as he is.
Went to his first All-Star game a couple of years ago. Colomé to Avi, who went to his first All-Star game last year. Oh, 2. Tapped back to the mound. Colomé is there to get the out, so that keeps Abreu from being the tying run. Moncada to second, Garcia to third.
Last 2 years for Colomé, 37 and 47 saves last year. So he's had a lot of success, off to a slow start, as are his Rays, but if he nails it down, it will be 2 in a row for them and 5 in a row on the other side of the equation for our Sox.
After a 3-2 season opening road trip, this homestand has not gone as planned for the Sox.
Nope, it has not, with 2 teams of which will not be going to the playoffs.
Abreu is swinging a miss. James Shields on the mound tomorrow to close out the series. Sox hoping to get those 2 runs in and keep the rally going. Jose takes.
That was a good stop. Saved a run. Jose's job, plain and simply, is not to drive home runs, although he would like to. His job is to get on base and make sure that Matt Davidson is the tying run at bat.
Abreu 1 for 6 lifetime against Colomé. Foul of third, 1-2. Rays took the lead in the third and haven't given it up since. 2 in the third, 1 in the fourth, 1 in the fifth. Sox with a run in the fifth off their first hit against Blake Snell. This is pitch number 335 of the game combined.
Yikes.
That's a lot of throws.
That's a lot of pitches. A lot of calls for Gary Cedarstrom on a very cold afternoon.
1-2. Jose hits it well in the air, deep center field. Gomez has no play, it's gone. 3-run home run, Jose Abreu. The tying run will come up, and the fireworks get some use.
3-run bomb. That's the 3rd home run. He now is driven in 6. So he didn't catch that one on the sweet spot. Our 4th home run replay, you'll see Jose get it off pretty much the end of the bat and sailed it 410 feet away. Gomez looks up. He cannot get to it. And now it's a 1-run game.
With Matt Davidson and his 3 home runs from opening day coming up. With that home run, another generous donation from the Alex Nellius family in loving memory of Ursula. The Rally Caps doing the trick so far. 2 out and Davidson takes ball 1. Matt's had a great eye today with 2 walks on the board for him. Like Jose was scanning his right hand in the dugout.
I think it's still vibrating because he did catch that ball off the end of the bat. And that shows you how strong he is. And that's vibration. When you don't hit it on the sweet spot, you're going to feel that for a while, but he'll gladly trade a little buzzing in the hand for a 3-run homer.
One. Downstairs, 2 balls and a strike on Davidson. Here's the reason this is all happening.
Sometimes you open the door just a touch, and it turns into gold.
Two balls and a strike. Davidson takes again. 3-1 on Matt Davidson. Omar is next. Sox have exhausted the bench. Wellington Castillo left with some knee soreness earlier. Omar pressed into action. 3-1. 1-run game. Davidson swings through it. 3-2.
Plenty of guys left in the bullpen. If the Sox can keep this alive, it looks like Nate Jones warming up. Jose is the reason it's this close, with a little help from his mates. And what looked to be a blowout at 6-1. It's turned into a nail biter at 6-5. And there's the Rally Caps.
Payoff pitch. Fouled away. Davidson stays alive.
You got to figure it's going to be slider after slider because Column A just throws a bundle of them. That's the pitch he loves. You see the entire at bat has been outside to Matt Davidson. So a little blister on his right hand, and that was singing to him.
Three balls, 2 strikes. Low ball 4. 3rd walk for Davidson. Tying run is on. First career 3-walk game for Matt Davidson. And the offensive surge continues. Omar coming up. And Snyder out of the dugout to talk to Column A.
Matt has got to get a pretty good lead at first base, because although the outfield is going to play really deep all the way around, if you slice one down the line in left field, which is what Omar will do, he'll also take it to right center field, then Matt has got to score. Got to score from first base to tie it up at the very least. With Omar thinking about some contact, and he is a contact hitter with a great eye.
Three-run homer Abreu. Davidson the walk. Column A glances over there. 0-1.
He was trying to win the ball game. That is an unusual swing for Narvaez, who usually has a controlled swing. That time he said, I'm going to swing as hard as I can. Maybe if there's contact, let's see how far I can go.
One strike pitch. Up and out. 1 ball, 1 strike from Colomé. A 4-run inning for the Sox so far.
Remember, these Rays blew a 7-2 lead in Fenway Park. Watson scored 5 in the 9th.
Omar hits it hard into right, but right at Malik Smith. And that'll do it. The Sox with a valiant comeback. 4 runs in the 9th inning, but Tampa Bay wins 6-5. Again, 27 outs worth for the Sox, but no equalizer. And 6-5 your final. See you tomorrow.
Look, until this team battled back, we got the finale of the homestand, the finale of the series tomorrow, and get your rest. It's an early one.
Sounds good. See you tomorrow. And we say farewell for our producer, John Walgren, our director, Jim Angio, associate producer, Chris Kampka, tech manager, Mark Harper, and the executive producer, Greg Bowman, and our entire crew here in Chicago. He's Steve Stone. I'm Jason Benetti. So long from Guaranteed Rate Field. For Chuck Garfien as well, we say farewell. Coming up next, Subaru White Sox postgame live. You've been watching Chicago White Sox baseball on NBC Sports Chicago.